Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Lions Den here at Orange High School for WKYC's Game of the Week in high school football, week number 3, as the Lions from Orange High School take on the Wickliffe Blue Devils. I'm Dave DiNatale alongside D-Man Dennis Maniloff. Happy to have everyone with us. And D-Man, we come into tonight's game starting an hour early because of Mother Nature. There are storm predictions all over Northeast Ohio tonight, and Orange High School, in addition to many other schools in the area, moving up the start time 1 hour so we can hopefully get the game in without any weather issues.
Yes, it's been interesting to see how everything's been put together in such a short period of time. The Orange people have done a phenomenal job of getting everything ready, including the concession stand. The much-needed concession stand for water was open and ready to go.
Listen, that's priorities.
Yes, we need our water, but beautiful hosts, and I can't wait to get started.
By the way, bravo to everybody both at Wickliffe and Orange. You voted for us to be here, beating out some heavyweights in Northeast Ohio. Solon and Stowe was one of our other nominees, and so was Twinsburg Aurora. And I don't think a lot of people thought we were going to be here, but this won the vote, and it won by a nice measure. So the first time we've had a chance to see either of these two teams, first time I've ever had a chance to broadcast either of these two teams. And Wickliffe comes into tonight, Dennis, playing some really good football. They're 2-0, and they've steamrolled their first two opponents, Oberlin and Harvey, and kind of feels almost like the run that Kenston has been having, maybe not quite to that effect, but they're playing good, solid football. And the thing with Wickliffe, there are 21 players dressed for tonight's game.
Yeah, you pointed that out. It's sort of like the Weight Watchers roster. It's lean and mean. I mean, I couldn't believe how few guys were out there. Looked like you said 21, and then a 22nd guy had
was in street clothes.
In street clothes. So Wickliffe is going to need to stay healthy, obviously, but a lot of guys go in two ways against a fortified Orange team. So I can't wait to see this get started.
Yeah, both these teams made the postseason last year. Wickliffe was 8-2, and Orange was 7-3. For the Lions, we'll talk about them. They're 0-2 coming in tonight. They're desperate for a victory. They lost. They had the lead on Beechwood on opening night and couldn't put away the Beechwood Bison. And then last week they ran into that same Streetsboro Rocket team that we talked about last week with Chagrin Falls that's been dismantling everybody they've played so far. And the speed of Streetsboro was a real problem for Orange. But this is a team that's trying to get to the postseason for the third straight year and have their 5th straight winning season, something that you have to go all the way back into the 1950s to find a stretch that's been this good that what Orange has had right now.
Right, and Orange's biggest task against Wickliffe obviously is going to be stopping the run, because Wickliffe is a run-heavy team, and I hope their interior is up for it, for their sakes, because it's no secret what Wickliffe tries to do to you. It's just a matter of, okay, are you going to be able to be physical enough at the point of attack and follow the coach's instructions the way they want you to?
Wickliffe has 3 different guys that they like to use to run the football. Chase Fortcamp is the young man we'll be calling a lot tonight. He's a junior. And of course, it's like, I feel like it's the movie Necessary Roughness, the Texas State Armadillo. Everybody, Iron Man football. Fortcamp will go both ways. He'll play linebacker and also running back. Now, as a linebacker, he is a Kent State University recruit already as a junior. As a running back this year, he's already amassed 6 total touchdowns and 222 yards rushing in the first 2 games.
Yeah, that's very true, and we're getting ready for the captains to come out, and we'll see who wins the toss. It's a beautiful evening. I will say this, Dino, when I was walking the track a couple hours ago, the wind, and it's blowing into the press box.
Yeah, you can feel it, you can hear it coming through. Yeah.
And that is going to factor into the passing game, because you won't really have a wind at your back or in your face. It's going to be a crosswind, and quarterbacks have said that's the worst kind. You can deal with the wind behind you, you can deal with the wind in your face to a degree, but the crosswind is the one that's hard to measure. So that's a factor tonight. And you've got the turf, the field turf. So, and with the no inclement weather at this moment, I'm sure it's playing fast.
Well, and you might be asking, hey, they haven't done the coin flip already. Well, because everything got moved up an hour, that affects every facet of a game day operations crew, including making sure the officials are available to start at 6 o'clock. They, doing their other full-time jobs and their other responsibilities, having to come out here to Orange a little early. They weren't able to get here while the teams were warming up. So they're just all kind of stretched and loosened up and warmed up now. So that's why the captains will do the coin flip now as opposed to doing it usually around 30 minutes before kickoff.
Right. Huge props to the Orange athletic department for their lobbying skills to make sure that the officials come here for the 6 o'clock start. You wonder if they were all on board at first, but they were told, hey, we got to do it, because here's what the scenario we were presented with. If it is to be delayed, they can't just turn around and resume in the morning. This would be an evening resumption tomorrow, and nobody wants to do that. So they impressed upon that to the referees about this 6 o'clock start, and therefore they went ahead and said yes.
Yeah, here at Orange High School tomorrow, they're having their ACT test for the students in the morning, and then there's a girls' soccer game during the day. So you just don't have the ability to get the players and game day operations and everything back here in one place to do the game. So everybody was flexible enough to move up to 6 o'clock, and we were told, and I think you said over on the west side, Bay Village, the Bay's playing Elyria Catholic, I believe, tonight. That game got moved up to 6 o'clock tonight.
Yes.
And I know that wasn't the only one.
Correct. And as you can tell, as the listeners can tell, we are a minute past 6 now, and we're still not underway, which is understandable. It's funny, the teams are ready, and
the team,
everybody's ready,
yeah.
But the refs are a little bit behind schedule, the officials, and they're talking to, I believe, one of the members of the Orange coaching staff. But
exactly. They're talking to Orange's head coach. Yeah,
we've got
Adam Beckham,
and our man Brian Crane is waiting.
Brian Crane's been waiting. Brian Crane's been waiting at the 50-yard line for the coin toss for about 45 minutes.
Yes.
I mean, he was ready to flip the coin himself if he needed to do so. One of the things I'm sure they're talking about is if. And we looked, and look, I talked to Matt Wentz about this last night, our meteorologist, but if the storm comes in, what are the protocols once the alarm goes off and everybody's got to get the players back into the locker room, fans need to clear the stands, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm sure they're going through as much as anything else, making sure everybody's on the same page if Mother Nature should strike earlier than planned. But the belief was that by virtue of moving it up to 6 o'clock, they would be able to get this game in, even if we have anything that would delay it overtime or something like that before the bulk of the storms come in. But we're just waiting to get things started here for week number 3 of high school football. This was voted in by you, the fans, at WKYC.com, outbeating 2-0 Solon and 2-0 Stowe tonight, and 2-0 Aurora against 1-1 Twinsburg. I mean, it's exciting for us to be here and to see these two terrific teams and two great programs that we don't often get a chance to broadcast. And this is just one of the many games going on across the area tonight that will be of interest. I mean, tonight, D-Man, I think the big game in high school football is going to be going on down in Akron, as you've got St. Ignatius and Hoban meeting up tonight. And when we got off the air last week, we got off the air pretty early from the Kenston-Chagrin Falls game. At that point, Ignatius was leading Mentor, and I think it was like 31-17, and it felt like it was going to be a pretty secure win for the Wildcats. And Mentor made a furious fourth quarter comeback, won that game, and suddenly now Ignatius is coming off of a loss and having to play Hoban tonight.
I hear you, Dino. I do want to go back to one thing we were told in the preparation for tonight's game that I found fascinating. And maybe I'm living in the dark ages and it happens everywhere, but the Orange lighting system at this facility has an automatic shutoff when lightning is within 10 miles, which I found to be really interesting.
I wasn't aware. I'd not heard of that either. That's pretty cutting edge, I think, and very, very smart. The 10-minute alarm system that has been put into place, and I think it's really now become a protocol for high school, college, professional, outdoor sports. And we saw it last night in the Thursday night football game. When that storm gets within 10 minutes away, basically that's it. Everybody's out. And they don't, it used to be, well, if you saw lightning in the distance, that was your clue that, okay, we're going to go ahead and put the game in postponing mode. But things have changed. Technology has gotten better, and that's why we're able to do this. But again, still on a bit of a delay here to get started.
I truly have nothing against Coach Becklem of Orange, but I'm wondering what is going on here. He seems to be just fine talking to the officials, giggling, laughing. Meanwhile, we're at 6:05. I don't know if there's a sense of urgency here to get things going.
Now we have handshakes.
There we go.
Now he's going to jog off the field.
There's a reason why we got here early.
Yes.
And it doesn't look like it now, but we were told that storms could come. So, all right. So finally we are getting ready to have the captains come out and flip
and get this ball game underway. Yeah, we'll have to find out afterwards what some of the discussions were. It's always curious, but everybody apparently is satisfied. Officials are ready. The captains are ready. We're gonna march out to the 50-yard line for the most dramatic coin flip in high school football that I've had in a long time.
OHSAA history.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, it's intense.
It is. It is. I mean, but the sense of urgency to get this game in was right, and I think everybody handled this the right way with the two schools, the officials, the OHSAA, and everybody else.
Yeah, and who am I to say that about weather? You can't take enough precautions, but I don't know.
Well, here's what I can do.
We'll see.
Last night, I put meteorologist Matt Wintz to the test. I said, fact or fiction. At some
what do the models say?
Yeah, what do the models say? It's fact or fiction. Our game is going to have a storm delay. And he said, I think that's a fact.
All right. There's our man Craner photographing the videographing the coin flip.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Again, you have a crosswind, so you don't really have a definitive advantage.
I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think so.
To either side, it's because it's cutting right across the field. Let's see.
Officials showing the coin here. Yeah, so we're sure it's legit. Yes, we're good.
Yes, here we go. Come on, boys, let's go. Let's go. It's a 6 o'clock start for a reason,
6 o'clock start
guys.
time. Let's get it. Let's
Come on
get it going.
now. Let's go. Oh, he fumbled the flip.
Oh no!
Now he had to reset.
All right.
No, all right. Play-by-play of the flip. He didn't let it land.
Yep.
They defer. Okay, Orange defers.
Orange defers. Okay.
He didn't even let it hit the turf. He caught it.
No. Yaya Basharat was the captain out there for Orange, and I mean he's just laughing right now. Saying, okay, we're going to defer. So that means we'll see the Wycliffe offense to start the football game. Evan Rypinski is the quarterback. He is a 6-foot senior. He's thrown 3 touchdowns already on the season. He's also rushed for a score. Chase Fortcamp, Isaiah Bolin, and also Mason Bala are the 3 backs that we're going to keep an eye on tonight. Nick Martinitis, Mario Seferati, and Duke Stanzak are the receivers. Jack Bunn, Mikey Moon, Anthony Ellis, Tyler Fisher, and Zach Estevez are the offensive linemen for the Blue Devils. Mars Porcello is the coach at Wycliffe. This is his 9th year at the helm of the Blue Devils, and he has put together a terrific program. The problem Wycliffe always seems to run into is, and actually they didn't have to worry about it last year in the playoffs, but they always seem to have to run into Kirtland to advance. And as we saw certainly last year in the Hornets' road to the state championship, beating them is very, very difficult. Not a lot of teams do so. Last year, Wycliffe lost in the regular season. They finished 8-2. Their 2 losses were to Cuyahoga Heights, another power in the small school in Northeast Ohio, and those same Kirtland Hornets. Last year, Orange was 7-3, and they advanced to the playoffs, since we said that was the 2nd year in a row for the Lions to get in.
Dino, you are a savant of high school football. What do you see? What's your early thought about how this game might unfold?
I'm curious to see it's the speed of Orange against, I think, the physical play and the running game of Wycliffe, and which tempo is going to kind of dictate the flow of this football game.
Great point.
For Orange, Connor Whiteman will kick it off. Back deep for Wycliffe is Chase Fortcamp. He'll stand at the 8-yard line. We are finally underway. It's a squib kick over on the left side of the field. One of the up men have it for Wycliffe at the 20-yard line, out to the 30. And I believe it's Isaiah Bolin took it out to the 32-yard line. And that is where the Blue Devils will start first down and 10.
And right away you saw I believe that the Orange does not squib kick all the time, so you saw the effect of that crosswind. They don't want to get the ball up in the air where the wind could perhaps push it out of bounds, and all of a sudden you got a penalty.
Orange will run out of a 4-3 defense. Grant Bell, Sergio Johnson, Tanner Coker, and Tariq Taylor up front. Adam Drucker, P.J. Fisher, Greg Beard are the linebackers. Brian Purnell, Marvin Davies, Mike McNeil, and Deontay White in the secondary. First and 10, Blue Devils. They'll spot it at their own 33. Rapinski will turn, give the ball. Chase Fortcamp's got it, crosses the 35, and he'll take it out near the 38, maybe the 39-yard line. They'll spot it there for a gain of 6. Fortcamp, 6'2", 210 pounds. He's only a junior. He's going to get better, and that's why I have a feeling Kent State won't be the only program that offers him a scholarship.
I hear you, Dino, and I saw in the first snap, let's see, the second snap, no Orange player is deeper than one Orange player now is beyond 6 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Fortcamp will get the carry again, running left side, runs right into a couple of Orange Lions. They'll push him back at the line of scrimmage for no gain. He may have even lost a half yard on the play. Good movement over there by the Lions. Adam Drucker, the linebacker, leading the charge.
I've got Marvin Davies with good run support off the corner. Yeah, he did a nice job there as well.
And Drucker slowed him up. Davies finished off. It'll be a 3rd down and 4, and a flag goes down.
False start.
False start. So back it up 5, now make it a 3rd and 9 here for the Blue Devils. 10:50 to play, opening quarter, no score. WKYC.com high school football game of the week. Wycliffe at Orange. And that penalty makes it now a 3rd down and 9. As Evan Rapinski gets the call from his head coach, Mars Porcello. And going out wide left is Donnell Jackson. 2 receivers to the right, including one on the slot. Rapinski to throw on 3rd and 9, has time, now he throws behind and incomplete, looking for Mason Bala at the 35-yard line. Drucker over there on coverage, and Greg Beard over there as well. So it'll be a 3 and out for Wycliffe, and we'll see a punting situation.
That's a bad pass, low and behind the target, but even if it's on target, Orange is right there to make the tackle, and they're not getting the first down.
Orange will send Deontay White and Marvin Davies in double safeties back at their 35-yard line. Isaiah Bolin will stay in to punt the football. Snap will move to him to his right, but no pressure, gets the kick away. And a fair catch is caught and made, or made and caught, I should say, by Deontay White back at the Orange 30-yard line, and the Lions will start there 1st and 10. Deontay White is an exciting player for the Lions. He's already rushed for 290 yards on the season, went over 230 yards in the opening game against Beechwood, including a 77-yard touchdown run. Greg Beard in the backfield with him. Brian Purnell is the quarterback. Marvin Davies, Trayvon Davis, the wide receiver, Stephen Fellinger is the tight end. 1st and 10 as quarterback Brian Purnell, at least I don't think that is Purnell. It's Basharat is in there, quarterback. And on 1st down, he'll turn, give the ball to White, stutter steps right, cuts back left, breaks a tackle, gets to the 35, goes to the outside at the 39-yard line, then brought down there as Chase Fortcamp made the tackle, but a nice piece of open field running by running back Deontay White gets him 9 on 1st down.
Yeah, that's called making something out of nothing. I don't know how he got out of that pickle. behind the line of scrimmage, and he turned it into a 9-yard gain.
We'll get back to the quarterback situation in a second. They've gone with 2 different signal callers this year. Purnell was listed on the depth chart as the starter, but Basharat got a lot of playing time. He's 9 of 12 throwing the football this year for 119 yards. 2nd and 1, Orange at their own 39-yard line. Out of the pistol, Basharat will keep it, puts his head down, gets the first down to the 45, and he'll take it out to the Orange 48-yard line. Fort Camp on the tackle with Anthony Ellis as well for the Blue Devils.
And that's the value of Deontay White, because you fake the handoff to him going right. They have to respect that. And then as a quarterback, you go left.
And Greg Beard in that pistol look is over on the right, almost as that slot back. White stands to the left of Basharat. Ball near midfield at the 48-yard line of the Lions, 1st and 10.
You got an audible here, called from the sideline.
Yeah, Basharat now will shift back to the shotgun here, 1st and 10. And in motion, they'll give the ball. Greg Beard runs left side, gets the first down to the 50, or to the 45-yard line, I should say. Not a first down, but he got into Wycliffe territory and picked up about 7 on first down. Greg Beard, that's only his 8th carry of the year. Came in with 33 yards on the ground, but it's another option, D-Man, if you're going to be keying on Deontay White.
Yes, and you're seeing, that inside handoff becoming more and more prevalent in the college game for sure. It's creeping into the pro game, and of course you see it here already in this game.
Davis and Davies flanked out wide right. Basharat to throw, looking deep right side, and the pass broken up at the 20-yard line. It was intended for Trayvon Davis, but pretty good coverage over there on the right side. Duke Stanzak was there to knock it away.
I'll tell you what, Dino, that is a pass breakup by Trayvon Davis, because that had a potential interception written on it. It hung up in the air, and Davis did a heck of a job to jump up and knock it away.
Goes back to that cross breeze you were talking about. Hung that ball up there, trying on
it's
a
going to be
second
tough
and
to
short.
throw deep, Dino, today, I believe.
8:57 to go, first quarter. It's a 3rd and 3 Orange at the Wycliffe 45. The give is to White. Stumbles, but he's able to fall ahead and should have enough for the first down. Well, let's see, maybe not. They're going to say his knee came down about a yard shy of the first down at the 43-yard line.
That's a quality play by Bolin to shoot the gap, and he got the shoestring tackle.
Yeah, Bolin and Fort
look
Camp.
at this, look at this.
Yep.
All right, fourth
down in less than a yard. And they'll just do the quarterback sneak, and Basharat will move the pile forward.
We got a flag.
We'll check on the flag.
It might be motion.
It would be a first down if it stands, but it's on orange. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. So instead of 4th and 1, it's going to be now 4th down and presumably 6. That will change the play call quite a bit. So move it back to the Wycliffe 49-yard line.
Now, what is that call, Dino? I've never seen that. I've never seen the official do that on a call. Sideline warning?
No, I'm not sure.
Right, that wouldn't have been a penalty.
Yeah, that's weird.
He throws his arms out to the side. All right, they're going for it anyway.
4th and 6. Basharat,
another one.
And this time I think it's going to delay a game as he was trying to get the snap in. No, that's false start. Back him up another 5, and now I wonder if we might see Orange's punt team in there. Yep. So back-to-back penalties, including one we weren't sure about. One for sure was a false start. Knocks Orange out of Wycliffe territory and puts them in a punt situation. So
wow.
That's costly. Tyler Hoffman will kick the football for the Lions. And Chase Fortcamp, who doesn't take a play off, will be in single safety at his 23. Low kick. They'll bounce inside the 20, inside the 10, inside the 5. Can they save it? Nope. Out of the end zone. Almost able to save that. Brian Purnell hustling down, nearly able to save that from being a touchback, but it'll be 1st and 10 at the 20 for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, Dino, while you have been looking, I'm looking at, we've got our official signals. It might have been a chop. No, it couldn't have been a chop block. That would have been a 15-yarder, right?
Yeah.
It was a weird signal where the referee fanned out his arms. I've never seen that before.
I haven't either. All right, ball at the 20, 1st and 10. Out of the pistol, Evan Rapinski at quarterback for the Blue Devils. No score here in the first quarter, 7:50 to go. And a high snap pulled down, and the ball goes to Bala. Bala will run to his right side and run into a couple of orange jerseys. Deontay White leading the charge there. Gain of 2, 2nd down and 8.
Tremendous job by White. And you know these Orange is well coached, of course, and you know their DBs are told, hey, when you play Wycliffe, you got to be ready to shoot the gaps and run support because that's what they do.
And keep containment.
Yes, and White did a terrific job of that.
2nd down and 8 as Fort Camp stands behind Rapinski with 2 wings on each side. And they'll go now to Fort Camp. Straight ahead, he'll take it out to the 25 and go forward to the 26 for a gain of 4. That'll set up a 3rd down and 4 for the Blue Devils. I mean, there've only been in the first 2 games, and I realize some of them have been blowout scores, but Wycliffe has only thrown 17 passes on the year in the first 2 games. So we'll see a lot of running. It's very similar to a Kirtland type look with the double wings in there.
I was watching Coach Becklem. He's looking at his iPad. I wonder if he's trying to figure out what that penalty was.
I still don't know what it was either. As the shotgun comes out here for Wycliffe, 3rd and 4 for the Blue Devils from their own 26-yard line. Rapinski gets the snap, hands, Fort Camp runs to his left, and in traffic, he's not going to get, second effort, he's going to get close to a 1st down, but he's going to be about a yard short. Fort Camp really trying to dig in there and get that 1st down. P.J. Fisher among those to make that stop. And that's going to set up 4th and 1 and another punt here for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, a good extra effort by Fort Camp, but he just couldn't get the 1st down.
I'm impressed with Orange's defense so far.
Yes, disciplined,
nice job.
Fast, and physical.
Bolin the punt. It'll be White this time in single safety. High snap. I don't know how Bolin got it down, but he did. White's going to watch this bounce at the 40, take a Wycliffe roll, and it'll stop at about the Orange 32-yard line. I don't know how Isaiah Bolin got that snap. I thought for sure that was going over his head towards the end zone.
And it did. Fortunately, too, it had a little sink to it. It just kind of went, it dropped a little after it reached its apex.
Almost a game breaker right there. Instead, it'll be 1st and 10. They'll move it actually up to the 33-yard line for the Lions. And we'll check. And I think Purnell is going to be the quarterback on this drive. He is. So back and forth. Basharat started the game at quarterback, and now Brian Purnell will go to the shotgun. White stands to his right, 1st and 10, Lions at their own 33. Purnell will run right, tried to read a block, and then took it forward to about the line of scrimmage, and then got knocked back. Fort Camp and Bolin leading the charge.
Yeah, Bolin does a nice job there. He and his, yellowish gold shoes.
Oh, yeah. Good. Almost fluorescent.
Yes. He did a nice job coming in there and got the ankle tackle.
No gain on the play, 2nd and 10 as we approach 5 minutes to go, first quarter. No score here at Orange High School inside the Lions' den. Purnell on the shotgun. White again stands to his right, 1 receiver on each side. And now Davis will go in motion. They'll give it to him on the jet sweep. Trying to make a cut. Fort Camp will get a TFL back inside the 30. They've actually spotted at the 31-yard line, but that's a heck of a hit by Chase Fort Camp.
Fort Camp frustrated on the offensive side, hasn't really been able to get going. Takes out a little of that frustration with a tremendous tackle for loss.
Wycliffe trying to make it clear that Orange is going to have a hard time going to the outside against them. So now it's going to be a 3rd and long, 3rd and 11. Fortunate it was only a 1-yard loss. Frankly, they could have marked it at the 30 if they wanted to. Purnell will run to his right and cuts it back inside. Got back to the line of scrimmage, but really not much else. Slow going for Orange. And over there on the far side to make the tackle was Jack Bunn.
I mean, that's a sign of a well-coached team in Wycliffe. They're both well-coached, of course, but Wycliffe defenders didn't buy the fake screen pass to the left. The guys on the left side of Wycliffe's D just stayed home,
yep.
And therefore the QB had nowhere to go.
So for the second time, Tyler Hoffman will kick the football away. Fort Camp in single safety at the 30. Good pressure by Wycliffe.
They got close.
And Fort Camp will make the fair catch call at his own 33-yard line. So Wycliffe will begin their third possession of this first quarter. Back and forth we've gone here with the defenses really standing out here in the early going. No score with 3:25 to go here in the opening frame as we are in a race against Mother Nature. Want to get this game in tonight with the prediction of storms coming later on this evening.
Yeah, you would think that Wycliffe is going to need to throw the ball, but that's not their game. So I think they stay with what has worked for them and see if they can wear down Orange instead of panicking already and saying, all right, we're not running the ball, we got to throw it.
We'll come back to that here after this play. On first down to go on the inside give. Bolin breaks the tackle at the 40, gets to the 45, and a first down as Isaiah Bolin will take it out to the 47, maybe the 48-yard line. Rapinski has completed 7 passes this year, 3 of them to Fort Camp, 2 of them to Bolin, 2 of them to Bala. Yeah. None to the wide receivers.
And we saw right away that first play, just stick with what you are, stick with what you know, and Wycliffe knows running, they know rushing, and that's what they did on the first play.
Bala and Bolin are their 2 wings. Then the pistol look now. Rapinski has Fort Camp behind him, 1st and 10. And it'll be a keeper, and Rapinski is drilled back behind the line of scrimmage at the 45 as Tanner Coker made a terrific read from his defensive tackle spot and knocked down Rapinski for a loss of 3.
Yeah, and it was a Rapinski juggle of the football after the fake handoff, which threw him off.
Yeah, threw off the timing on the play to Fort Camp. Loss of 3, 2nd and 13. We're under 3 minutes now to go in the first quarter. Still no score. And again, it's Bala and Bolin on the wings to each side. Fort Camp behind Rapinski. Fort Camp will get the carry, runs left, puts his head down to the 49-yard line, gets to midfield, and he'll be put down there for a gain of about 5. It'll set up a 3rd and 8 for the Blue Devils. This has been their deepest penetration thus far in this football game.
That's classic hat on hat. PJ Fisher is there for Orange, and he's all by himself there and has to make the tackle, and he does.
Wycliffe needs to get to the Orange 42 for their the second first down of the game. First down came a little bit earlier in this sequence. As we'll see, Nick Martinitis coming out wide right here on the near side. 3rd and 8 for the Blue Devils. Back to throw Rapinski. Has plenty of time. Over the middle. Pass caught. First down at the 40. Cutting inside is Bolin, and he'll be put down at the 37-yard line. 8th completion of the year for Evan Rapinski. It was a nice one to Isaiah Bolin, his 3rd catch of the season.
Well-designed double fake, and Bolin does an excellent job with his feet of avoiding a tackle that probably would have occurred right at the sticks, and is able to gain a couple extra yards.
Yeah, got the 5 yards extra. Picked up 13 on that play. As we approach 1 minute to go here in this first quarter, Wycliffe and Orange are scoreless in our WKYC high school football game of the week. Blue Devils, though, on the march for the first time tonight here. Rapinski has Bolin and Fort Camp to each side of him in that short pistol look. He'll give Fort Camp to the 35, and that's really about it. Greg Beard and Adam Drucker, the 2 linebackers, on the tackle for a gain of 2. 2nd down and 8, and may get one more play in before the end of the first quarter. Not surprising, a pretty fast-moving first quarter with 2 teams that like to run the football. We are down to 20 seconds to go here. 2nd and 8, Blue Devils from the Orange 35. Rapinski gets the high snap, keeps it, runs it to the 30, head down, and he falls forward very close to the first down, and where they're spotting it, it will be a first down at the Orange 26-yard line. So that is a gain of about 11, and I should take that back, make that about a 9-yard game, and that'll take us to the end of the first quarter.
You figured they were going to work in the fake the handoff quarterback up the middle action. And there you saw it work to, I wouldn't say perfection, but good enough for what you needed, which was a first down.
Well, it's kind of like with White with Orange. When you see Fort Camp, with his hands out to go get the football, I think your natural thing is to go after Fort Camp. Got to stop Fort Camp. And you forget, Rapinski's a good athlete. He can run with the football. So that's one quarter in the books here at Orange High School. And we are scoreless here in this football game. I think I'm kind of, frankly, surprised, D-Man, that with these offenses that we haven't seen any scoring yet. But it's been the defenses, for the most part, that have kind of dictated the tempo of this football game.
Yes, and you talked about it earlier, Dino. It's easier to say than it is to do, but setting the edge, staying in your lanes, executing your assignment, that's what both defenses have, players on both defenses have done. They haven't wandered off and tried to make some circus play and got burned for the most part. They've stayed home, done what they're told to do, and as a result, no explosive plays. Some nice gains, but no explosive plays yet.
So out of the break here, as the teams switch sides, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Blue Devils at the Orange 26-yard line after the first down run by Evan Rapinski.
Viewers don't know this, but I'm up against it on the wall here in the press box, so Dino's going to have to make the call.
Try and help you out here as much as I can here from the 20.
I'll peer around around the wall. Try not to get in your way because you're the most important guy.
Fort Camp stands behind Rapinski with the wings on each side, 1st and 10, and the give will be to Isaiah Bolin, and Bolin will be brought down back at the 25-yard line. Actually, they'll give him forward progress to a yard. Adam Drucker made the tackle for the Lions, 2nd down and 9.
Yeah, terrific job by Adam Drucker as the trailer there. He just stayed, he knew what was going on and was able to make the play.
Boy, the linebackers for each team as a group, we talk about Fort Camp as an individual, but both sides, linebacking has been terrific here thus far in the game.
Yes, it has.
2nd and 9, Blue Devils. Empty backfield this time. Fort Camp will move to the wing with 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, and we've got a flag down. And it's a sideline warning against Orange.
Wow. That's kind of odd. That is an odd warning because the official had his back to Orange's sideline. So what is...
the one that made the call, it's kind of strange.
He must be feeling something. Look out.
The ball is bungled on there and picked up, though, by the Wycliffe Blue Devils as it went through the arms of Rapinski, but Mason Bala did a great job to grab the ball, go forward. We have an injured Orange Lion, and Bala took it down to the 23-yard line, got something out of nothing on a 2-yard pickup, but the concern right now is for the injured Orange Lion, who's down pretty much where the ball went down, and I saw one of the trainers go out there with a jug of Gatorade and stretching out a left leg, and it's at game time temperature tonight was at 86 degrees. Cramping certainly is possible. Other games that have started early here with the weather, Bay trailing Elyria Catholic 8-6 in the first quarter. Olmsted Falls on top of Westlake in the first, 21-12. Barberton shutting out Cuyahoga Falls in the first quarter, 14-0. And Brunswick trying to get to 3-0. They are shutting out Rhodes in the first quarter, 14-0. Ignatius coming up a little bit later on. They'll kick off in about 25 minutes with Hoban amongst some of the other big games tonight. Solon and Stowe, Twinsburg and Aurora amongst some of the other games we'll keep an eye on. The injured Orange Lion, Sergio Johnson.
The big man.
And he wants to go into the huddle and stay in the game, but he's got to come out for a play. But it looks like he's okay. But a near disaster for the Blue Devils.
It was the inadvertent handoff because it bounced off the QB and dropped right into
Bala. I mean, it was like a gift. And the fact that he got a couple of yards out of it was even better. It's 3rd down. We'll call it about 6 here for the Blue Devils. They'll send one receiver out wide right. That's Stanzak. 1 to the left. Wings on each side. And Rapinski will turn, give Bala at the 20. Spins inside the 15-yard line and gets the first down as he goes to the 14.
He doesn't get that first down if he doesn't spin.
That was a great run by Mason
Quality
Bala. Yeah, no doubt about it. First down. Tackle made on the play for the Lions by Tyler Hoffman. First down for the Blue Devils now at the Orange 14. And again, Stanzak out wide to the right. Martinitis goes out wide left. Evan Rapinski will look over to the right to get his play call in from head coach Mars Porcello. 10:20 to go, first half, no score, but Wycliffe on the march. Out of the shotgun, here's the option, pitch. Fortcamp at the 15, flag goes down as Fortcamp goes down at about the 12, and where the flag went down, methinks we're gonna have a holding.
Yeah, I think Wycliffe.
Yep, on the Blue Devils.
We'll wait and see exactly what that call is. Either a holding or a chop.
Yeah, preliminary was holding. Yeah, it is. And penalties have been a problem for both teams in this game. It really stymied Orange's best offensive drive of the game, and now pushed back Wycliffe here a little bit.
Yeah, you refer to that Orange drive. They're going for it on 4th and 1, and the next thing you know, they have back-to-back 5-yard penalties. It's 4th and 11. You got to punt. So here, definitely Orange got help from Wycliffe's mistake because Orange was on its heels.
Yeah, it's now essentially a 1st and 20, 1st and 21 to be exact. They'll move the ball back to the Lions' 25-yard line. Here's Rapinski, play fake, rolls right, looks, throws, and it's incomplete. It's almost intercepted. Was thrown towards Mason Bala at the 20-yard line, but a nice job by Orange's Greg Beard to step in front of it. If it had been a little bit higher, Beard would have had an interception. It'll be 2nd and 21.
Yeah, I'm noticing if you get the ball up moving, what are we going, west to east?
Yes.
If you get the ball in the air, the wind is knocking it down. It's coming across and it's knocking it down. That turned into a sinker ball that the quarterback threw, and he's kind of fortunate it sunk because the DB had jumped around.
Yeah, Beard was right there. Ball at the left hash at the 25-yard line of Orange. Wycliffe looking at a 2nd and 21. Empty backfield for Rapinski. Sends a man in motion, fakes to Bala, keeps it himself. He'll run to the 20-yard line and then ankle tackle down there right at the 20. And it's a gain of 5, so it'll be a 3rd down and about 16. Tarek Taylor on the stop for the Orange, for the Lions.
You know what, Dino, what I've always said is when a predominantly rushing team throws the ball and it's incomplete, they're running it the next play. There's no way they're going back-to-back passes, and I think Orange anticipated that, and it was a minimal gain.
So let's see what they want to call here. It's a 3rd and 16 now for the Blue Devils at the Orange 20-yard line. 109 minutes to go now in the first half. Rapinski with Fortcamp to his left, back to throw, being blitzed, in trouble, throws over the middle, almost intercepted at the 7-yard line. Adam Drucker was right there and nearly came away with the pick. Instead, it'll be a 4th down.
Adam Drucker would love to have that back, obviously, because it was in his midst.
And he had real estate in front of him. It's 4th and 16, and I don't see anybody coming in to kick a field goal here, so we're in go-for-it mode here for Wycliffe.
Yeah. There's no – I think it's way too risky to kick this type of field goal with this kind of crosswind.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be looking at about a 37-yarder.
You're not punting from here, so you might as well go for it.
Throw it up for grabs here. It'll be Stanzak to the right, Martinitis to the left. 4th and 16 at the 20-yard line. Again, the blitz, throw towards the end zone. There's a man there. It is incomplete, but we got a flag down. Intended for Stanzak, and
that's
at the last minute,
in the end zone.
Yeah, Brian Purnell at the last minute gave him a shove, and the officials saw it. They'll powwow over it, but it should be pass interference against Orange.
You could see the shove right before the ball arrived. You know, Dino, I didn't want to play the prediction game on that pass, but the height advantage for the receiver in that situation
Stanzak
was significant.
6'3" Stanzak, Purnell's 5'8".
And knowing it was 3rd and long, I'm thinking they're going to throw it. They might as well throw it up for grabs on that matchup, which is exactly what they did. But you got double flag. I mean, 2 guys saw it, 2 officials saw it. And He did.
Oh, they picked it up. They picked it up, D-Man.
Based on what?
They picked up the flag. It's going to be Orange football. Orange takes over on downs.
Wait a minute. What? Now, hold on a second. There's no way you pick up the flag in that situation.
I agree with you. It looked from our vantage point.
The Wycliffe coach is like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I understand Mars Porcello why he's upset. It was right in front of him. It'll be turnover on downs. 1st and 10 Orange at their own 20. I'm flabbergasted, to be honest with you.
We don't have an NFC Championship Rams v. Saints, do we? Oh, my goodness.
Somebody is saying, the statistician for Orange is saying the receiver may have initiated the contact by the push-off initially, but I hear that. I get that.
I mean, if that's the case, I wish they would have told us that each guy committed a foul, but that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Pick up the flag, and it'll be 1st and 10. It'll be Basharat back in at quarterback as they'll pretty much alternate. And there's still a conversation going on between 3 of the officials over on the far side towards the Wycliffe bench. And I'll tell you, if they go back to being a penalty.
Well, that's the thing. If it's penalty on each guy, it's offsetting, and they replay the down.
Right.
So it would not be Orange's ball if there were penalties on each guy.
The preliminary indication was when the flag came down, it was going to be pass interference. It would probably be a defensive pass interference. Then we saw the officials wave the flag off
as if they were
picking it up, and then that, by virtue of that, it's Orange football. We didn't see any indication that there was pass interference on both sides or anything like that.
But if there is,
then we go to Wycliffe gets it again. It'll be another fourth down. And the ball will still, ironically enough, be right at that 20-yard line.
Is it possible, Dave DiNatale, is it possible that the officials are calling headquarters?
Right. We'll call Secaucus, New Jersey.
I want to say one of the officials is on the phone to somewhere. I don't think he's ordering a pizza.
I was going to say, if he wants to order food for us up here, that would be fine, but they're still trying to figure out what the right call is. And I'm, by the way, with you. If the contact was initiated by the Wycliffe receiver, and in that case, that Wycliffe receiver was Stanczak, if you're going to call it the double penalty, then as far as I'm concerned, it should be fourth down. It's a do-over. If not, there should be no reason for this kind of a delay here.
I'll say this. By the time this delay is over, the rain will have arrived.
Well, yeah, between this and the coin flip
these guys,
here.
Wow. Come on now. Let's go.
The natives here in the Lions Den are getting restless here. I think we have a decision here that everybody agrees with. The referee is now going to walk over towards.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to replay. The Wycliffe quarterback is coming back out.
Yeah.
They're going to replay the down. That's what it should be. Here we go.
Pass interference. Yeah, D-Man, you're exact. Pass interference. Okay. Both sides. Penalties offset. Replay the down.
Yeah.
You were right on target, D-Man.
Well,
that's exactly the
we got
proper
help
call.
In the booth. But the mistake that was made was the official picking up the flag and signaling that he was picking up the flag.
Well,
that was not the right move.
Adam Becklem, I understand he's upset. He's going to use a timeout, number one, to get his defense refocused after everybody thinking it was going to go offense, but it gives him an opportunity to bark at the officials a little bit more. So, I can certainly understand why he'd be unhappy. But for Wycliffe now, it's a second chance. It goes back to being a fourth down and 16 at the Orange 20. So if the Blue Devils can get it to the 4-yard line, they can keep this drive going or obviously get a touchdown.
Dino, I know that it would be a short side of the field throw, but I would throw the ball up for grabs into the left side of the end zone, the boundary, because the wind is blowing across. I don't want that throw into the wind going to the right side of the end zone.
So the right move would be to move Stanzak, if you were looking at it, over to the left, is what you're saying,
Yeah.
the 6'3", and if you're going to do the jump ball,
do it over here.
Do it over on the near side, where it's easier
even though
for
it's
him.
the near side, the wind is not going to play tricks with the ball if you throw it into the left corner as opposed to the right corner.
Instead, it will be Martinitis out to the left.
Little bunch
a bunch
over there on the
formation
right.
over to the right.
Okay.
Shotgun here for Rapinski. Fort Camp to his right. Back to work we go. 4th and 16. Rapinski rolling right. Looking, throwing, end zone. It is caught. Touchdown, Wycliffe.
Oh!
On the
What a
touchdown catch, Mason Bala on 4th and 16.
Goodness. What a catch.
That was in heavy traffic. Somehow, Bala came down with it because there was an orange defender who was right in the path of that ball.
Yeah, these are the kind of plays that must drive coaching staffs crazy if you're on the bad end of it, because it seemed like everything was done right because you had half the population of Orange High School in the end zone, and yet it snuck its way through, and Wycliffe gets a touchdown reception.
It was a nice wheel route out of that bunch that Bala ran there for the touchdown. It's a 20-yard touchdown hookup from Evan Rapinski to Mason Bala. Here's the extra point. Drifts left, but it is good. And that was Bolin on the kick.
One of the assistants for Orange is jacked up. And can you blame him?
Well,
He
you
is hot.
just had a time, for his frustration, they had just gotten the timeout that Wycliffe had taken before that 4th down play to set things up, and then you have the breakdown. I mean, by the way, again, give credit, it was a terrific throw by Evan Rapinski, and the wheel route catch made by Mason Bala.
It was, but as I said, you're an Orange coach, and you know what you told your guys to do.
And
the
didn't do
one
it.
thing we can't get beat in is the end zone. You just can't get beat in the end zone. And there were plenty of Orange players in between the pass and the catch, and yet the catch was made.
Yeah, I think somebody was supposed to come up and help on that wheel route, and they didn't. So the touchdown, again, for Evan Rapinski, his 4th touchdown pass of the year. For Mason Bala, it's his 2nd touchdown catch. And it's a 7-0 lead for Wycliffe here with 8:33 to go in this first half.
I think I know what the Orange assistant is fuming about, because he threw his arms up in the air about 4 times. He's saying, just get your arms up and knock the ball down.
Knock it down.
You know?
Knock it down. So it's almost like a Hail Mary. I mean, it's not quite, it's a 20-yard pass, but it's the same principle. Knock it down. Bolin will angle that kick over to the left. It is picked up by one of the up men at the 20-yard line. I think that was White who came up to grab it at the 25. He's got it at the 30 and put down there. Deontay White, I think, was looking back saying, hey, I got face mask.
It looked
no
initially like he wanted a face mask call, but he's not vociferous about it, so maybe it was just a glancing blow.
So White takes it to the 30-yard line where it'll be 1st and 10 for Orange. Now we'll see here if the Lions can get settled down after that absolutely stunning momentum change when it looked like they had stopped the Blue Devils and had the football back, only to see Wycliffe score on a 4th and 16 from the 20-yard line. Basharat to the shotgun. White stands to his left, 2 receivers on that left side. Davis and Davies over there on 1st down. Basharat keeps, runs to his right, and takes it out to the 34-yard line. That's a gain of 4 over there on the tackle, Nick Martinitis.
And Dino, I want to go back to the touchdown, or right before the touchdown, and that 4th down, the flags in the end zone. Credit the Wycliffe coach for not buying the flag pickup and change of possession. He's saying, wait a minute, if you're picking up the flag, you can't be changing possession. And it turns out the refs sorted out, and they give Wycliffe another chance, which was the right call.
Yeah, it was everything was done right. It just took forever. On 2nd down, White is going to be brought down behind the line of scrimmage back near the 33. Good penetration by Jack Bunn, as we've got an injured Wycliffe Blue Devil at about the 38-yard line. And Wycliffe, we mentioned at the start of the game, they're only dressing 21 players by our count tonight on a roster of 22. Anthony Ellis was shaken up, but he's back up on his feet and walking off. So it's not a very deep bench. So injuries are not something that Mars Porcello can afford.
Something with his right arm.
Or shoulder, yeah, you're right.
Right arm or shoulder. But, yeah, Wycliffe cannot afford to lose guys. They just don't have the depth.
That was a loss of 1 for White there, so call it a 3rd and 7 for the Lions at the right hash from their own 33-yard line. They've got to get a first down here, just if anything, to give their defense, the guys who are not two-way players, give their defense a break here. Basharat on the shotgun. Again, 2 receivers left side. Low snap. He's back to throw. Sets up a middle screen. Pass is caught. Davies has it at the 40-yard line. Cuts over to the 45 and down to the 46. Make that Trevon Davis. I'm sorry. And Davis at the 45-yard line picks up the first down. Exactly what the Lions needed.
Yeah.
High percentage pass there, too.
Yeah, you had a Wycliffe interior. I would say Wycliffe linebacker just ran right past the play. He'd like to have that one back.
Marvin Davies out wide left. Trevon Davis, who made that catch, goes out there. Trayvon Davis out to the right here. Deontay White will go now to the left of Basharat. White will get the carry on a delay. White goes to the 50, breaks a tackle, gets close to the first down, and then he's knocked down about a yard short. And White's got to be careful. He came out of that and almost, kind of flipped the football on the ground almost in a spiking motion, and I think the official just warned him to simmer down a little bit. 2nd and 1. Very fortunate not to have unsportsmanlike conduct.
You're exactly right, Dino. The official came in and said no more.
2nd and 1. Davis and Davies will go out wide left as White will go to the left here of quarterback Zach Basharat. Basharat, another delay give. It's White, first down to the 40. Keeps his feet chopping, takes it to the 39-yard line. And another good pickup for Deontay White. We mentioned White began the year, rushed for 233 big ones against Beechwood on opening night. Was kind of held in check last week by Streetsboro. Some of that may have had to do with the way the game was developing. They couldn't run as much as they wanted to, but he's been active here in this drive.
Strong downhill running from the young fella.
Ball now at the Blue Devil 39. Best drive of the night here for Orange as we're under 6 minutes to go in the first half. Wycliffe 7, Orange nothing.
Audible called from the sideline again.
Basharat will bark out the plays on 1st and 10. White stands to his left from the pistol. And again, it's the same play. White up the gut to the 35. And he'll go to the 34-yard line, about a gain of 5. Nothing fancy here. Just a delay out of the pistol to Deontay White.
And I wonder if that was a dummy audible, because Orange went through the whole machinations of looking over to the sideline and pretending like they were changing the play. Guess what? What did they do? They did the exact same thing they've been doing, which is run White right up the middle.
Yahya Basharat checks out, and Greg Beard checks back in at the fullback wing spot. 2nd and 5 for the Lions. Ball is now at the Blue Devil 34-yard line. Basharat gets the snap on a little inside give. It is Greg Beard getting the run, and he'll take it out to the 30-yard line before he's brought down by Mason Bala. About a yard shy of the first, D-man.
I like the creativity to a degree, but right now I'm just running White right up the middle until they stop me.
It's working really well.
Just keep smashing it between the guards.
3rd and a yard for the Orange Lions. Ball spotted.
That's
right at the 30.
Here.
Yeah. Should be Deontay White all the way. And it is. On that delay give, he'll get the first down to the 25. And Martinitis will put him down right at that 25-yard line. That's a gain of 5. They're getting about 5 or 6 yards every time on that play.
Wycliffe, the onus is on Wycliffe. They've got to prove they can stop this basic run for White in between the tackles. This time he popped it out to the right a little bit, but you keep going with what's working.
As we approach 4 minutes to go in the second quarter, Wycliffe on top 7-0, but Orange on the move, and we've got a timeout on the field here, and the Blue Devils have taken their second timeout of this first half. They'll have one more remaining. Orange also with 2 timeouts now remaining. But a good drive here out of that touchdown. We talked about it. How is Orange going to react after that change in the momentum and the disappointment of the touchdown? Just getting that middle screen pass to Trayvon Davis really kind of woke everything up. Yes. And now really since then it's been the Deontay White show. Tremendous play call on the middle screen. We hadn't seen it all game. And, it was well executed, obviously, to get the first down. And White has really carried the mail since. And if you're Orange, you had to respond with some sort of time-consuming possession after you got punched in the mouth on a 4th down touchdown. Yeah, it's been a good response to this point. It'll be a 1st and 10 out of the timeout for the Lions at the Blue Devil 25. If you're just joining us, Wycliffe on a 4th and 16. Evan Rapinski with a 20-yard touchdown pass to Mason Bala, and that has been our only scoring thus far this evening. And if you're wondering why we have a quarter and a half in the books before 7 o'clock, because we started around 6:15 because of threat of impending or of inclement weather. Emphasis on 6:15. Yeah. Shotgun Monserrat on first down. Here's that delay. Give up the gun. It's White. White breaks a tackle. He's at the 15. White still on his feet. Takes it down to the 12-yard line for another first down. Deontay White. Yeah, and this is the thing. Not only are they blocking up front, but White is bouncing off the first and second tackle attempts. He's getting serious yards after contact. 13 on that little yards delay on that game. Right up the middle. Boy, they're going to it again. Yeah. I mean, they're basically telling Wycliffe, we're going with White up the middle. Same spot from the hash. There he goes. Give. This time runs left, and a shoestring tackle made at the 10-yard line by Isaiah Bolin. Yeah, Bolin just crashed it. He knew what was coming, and he came in off the his left edge. Gain of 2, 2nd and 8. They can get a touchdown here, can the Lions, or first down without getting a touchdown necessarily, if they can get it to the 3-yard line. Davis and Davies out wide left. Basharat. I still think they're going to White, Dino. I think they are too. 2nd down from the 10. Here's the give. White at the 5. 4, 3, 2, 1. He'll walk in. Touchdown, Orange Lions. Deontay White with his 2nd touchdown of the year. That one coming in from 10 yards out. And Orange within an extra point of tying the ball game. A-pluses all the way around. The coaching staff recognized what was working and kept going to it. The line did a heck of a job of blocking, and of course, everything was made possible by White's hard running, bouncing off tacklers, and shifty feet. Connor Whiteman for the extra point. Senior kicker puts it up. Line drive kick is good. So we're tied at 7 with 3:04 to play in the first half. Now, on the scoreboard, and I might have been wrong, I thought Wycliffe was down to 1 timeout remaining, but it says they still have 2. So the Blue Devils will still have a couple of timeouts here to work with before halftime. Again, this is an offense that isn't necessarily a 2-minute offense, so they will need to get on the ball if they get first downs and move quickly here if they want to get something before halftime. What a tremendous possession for Deontay White. And I'm watching him on the bench, well-deserved Gatorade water bath as he shoots himself with all kinds of water out of the jug. But, he's just like, give me the ball. Just keep feeding me. The one thing he didn't do was the feed sign, probably because the ref had told him, back off on the little extracurriculars. Yeah, so he didn't want to risk anything. Yeah. But tremendous running by the young man. Yeah, he was terrific. Whiteman to kick it off. Fort Camp back deep to receive. As we're all knotted up at 7 again, a squib kick. Fort Camp will let it bounce. Oh, wait a minute. We got a stop. Offsides. It's thrown over on the Wycliffe special team side of the field. The penalty, though, is against Orange. Delay a game. Okay. I don't know how you get a delay a game on a kickoff. That's what it looked like. But that was a signal. So back it up to the, back it back, I should say, to the 35 to be more precise.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you're right.
Well, I don't blame the Orange coaching staff for being a little hot about that because they're saying we did everything we were supposed to do.
We did everything right, yeah. You don't see that call on a kickoff.
Delay a game on a kickoff?
No,
almost
really.
Never. We're seeing all kinds of things we've never seen before, Dave. It's a strange night.
It's a strange night. Well, it is Friday the 13th. I mean,
is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you know, I guess we shouldn't be surprised.
There you go.
All right, here we go again.
Another squib. You knew.
Goes under one of the Wycliffe players, and it's picked up. Bala has it at the 23, runs middle of the field to the 30, and they got to tackle him down. And Bala takes it out to the 35-yard line.
Marvin Davies.
He was trying for a strip.
Oh, and he
desperately
had his hands on it. I'm pretty convinced he thought he was going to rip that right out of the hands.
Instead, Bala gets a couple of extra yards, and they'll spot it near the Wycliffe 36-yard line with 2:54 to play in this first half. 2 timeouts remaining here for the Blue Devils in a 7-7 ball game.
Yeah, you wonder what the Wycliffe 3-minute offense looks like, with all their running.
Yeah, it's like if you're going to run it, you can still run it, but you got to be on the ball quickly when the clock stops to move the chains.
Right.
On first down, got a new back in the ball game. It's Jacob Lewis, and Lewis will take it out near the 41-yard line. It's a gain of about 5, maybe 6, as it's a chance for Mars Porcello to give Fort Camp and Bolin and Bala a break. Fort Camp is back in there, though. But Lewis will stay in on a wing right side. 2nd and 5.
Whoa, what was that?
And the snap, we got whistles down. Looks like the snap kind of fluttered away, and
nobody else was moving.
Yeah, nobody was moving. Rapinski went down to a knee to get it back to the 38-yard line and went to a knee, and that basically blew the play dead. It's a loss of 3.
Yeah, that was a
zany,
odd-looking situation because nobody on the line moved other than the center snapping the ball.
So it's about 3rd down and 8. The give will be to Fort Camp, and he'll run forward to the 42, but my partner said it's going to be well short of the first down, about 4 yards, and I wonder if Orange may spend a timeout. They are, to stop the clock with 1:38 to go and give themselves an extra opportunity here to do something before halftime. The Lions will now have 1 timeout remaining, but at least now the clock is stopped and they have an opportunity here to do something before halftime. 7-7 tie here at Orange High School. Touchdown from 20 yards out, Evan Rapinski to Mason Bala for the Blue Devils. And then on the ensuing drive for Orange, a 10-yard touchdown run by Deontay White. Everything coming here in the second quarter. And we are all even at 7 apiece in this Week 3 matchup, WKYC's high school football game of the week.
If you're going to punt this ball, again, you got to keep it low.
You better get the the snap right here too.
Yeah, right. Great point. You have to get the snap right, keep it low, and just hit the rugby style dribbler.
Bolin waits for the snap. It's a good one. Back at his 26. He'll get the kick away. High kick. White will let it bounce inside the 20, and it'll come to a stop at about the 18-yard line of the Lions. They'll start there with 1:27 to go before halftime.
Yeah, Bolin says to me, what do you mean I need to keep it low? Good hang time on that punt, and it worked out. You got a little bit of roll afterwards. Now, if you're Orange, you can't get too cute.
No.
I mean, you've got to be careful here because
you've got the momentum. You've got the momentum here.
You're at home. You don't want to give anything up here. So, to me, it's just run 1-1 between the tackles.
And remember, Orange won the toss and deferred, so they'll start the second half with the football. And
we are not seeing
Basharat,
Deontay White.
No.
So they're just going to sit on this thing.
I think so. Yeah, they're going to have Greg Beard. At least White's going to get a break anyway. Beard is in the backfield next to Basharat. And Yaya Basharat goes in motion right, and now going in motion right is one of the receivers. Pass over the middle, wide open. Oh! 50, 45, 40. Goodbye. Trayvon Davis, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown on a brilliant call by the Orange Lions.
Unbelievable.
82-yard touchdown pass. Zach Basharat to Trayvon Davis.
Oh, my goodness gracious. You had the outstretched arms of, I want to say, Duke Stanzik, Dino, number 12, trying to make the swat. What a well-executed play with White on the sidelines. I think Orange dekes Wycliffe into thinking nothing's going on.
Everything was going in everybody was going in motion right like a running play. Whitehead for the extra point. It is up. It is good. Lions in the lead with 1:15 to go, 14-7. I mean, everything looked like, okay, you're inside your own 20. All right, let's just go into halftime. We're tied at 7. Your number one player is on the bench.
And so you deke Wycliffe into thinking, all right, they're just going to settle for the tie and go into the. And what a well-executed play. The play fake. The throw was on the money, barely eluding the Wycliffe defender. I mean, that's just good coaching and even better execution.
Adam Becklem deserves a lot of credit, he and his staff. That's a great call. For Zach Basharat, that is his third touchdown pass of the season. Trayvon Davis with his third touchdown catch.
Wow.
And the Lions, pardon the pun, have roared back after a 7-0 deficit.
No pardon needed. Not when you're in the Lions' den.
2 touchdowns on back-to-back possessions, a White touchdown run, and the Davis touchdown catch from 82 yards. When the book would say we're going into halftime content with the 7-7 tie.
And if you're it's easy to maybe say, oh yeah, try something daring, but then when you're the one actually having to make the call, it's a whole lot more difficult to say, we're going to run
if it doesn't work, if Stanzak or whoever makes the play, or if you have a sack there, you and I are saying, well, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
Gutsy call, and it pays off well. The kick is bobbled and picked up. Bala's got it at the 20. Makes a nice move at the 25. Spins to the 30.
Oh, no.
Look out. He's to the 40. Bala to the 45 to the 50, and finally taken down at the Orange 47-yard line. Nearly a touchdown for Mason Bala, but Wycliffe set up now with 1:05 to go in the half. 2 timeouts remaining now on the Orange side of the field.
Basharat with the tackle there. And Dino, I want to go back to the touchdown pass. It's entirely possible that the Orange coaches have said, we're taking one shot.
One shot, and then if not,
it works, it works. If it doesn't, we're going to go down to the knee for the next couple and run it out. And the one shot worked to perfection.
Worked out great. Ooh, a Wycliffe wide receiver
buddy.
Nearly lined up.
I'm still not sure.
Yeah, he's very close. On first down, here's Lewis getting the carry, running right side. He'll be brought down at the 46 for only about a gain of a yard or so. As we're under a minute to go, it'll be 2nd and a long 8. And the Blue Devils got to hurry here. 50 seconds and counting. Ball at the right hash. Down to 45 seconds. A lot of time here before this second down play. Rapinski looks over to the bench.
Too much time.
Yeah, and I think his coach has said
upset.
spike it.
He wanted to
32, 31, 30 seconds. They got to call this play. Rapinski to throw. Over the middle. Pass is caught. It'll be a first down at the 33 as Bolin makes the catch. Clock will stop temporarily to move the chains with 25 seconds to go. And then you would think as soon as they set it
you got to go.
Rapinski will spike
Wycliffe, come on now.
Timeout taken by the Blue Devils with 21 seconds. They wasted at least 20 seconds after that run on first down by Lewis.
Yeah. And they were on their way to being a little too casual here, and the timeout intervened, if you will.
You wonder now if it's like Wycliffe's a little bit stunned after that touchdown, after the momentum was clearly on their side earlier in this quarter.
Right.
21 seconds to go before the half. The Blue Devils have 1 timeout remaining. And Go
Coach
ahead.
Becklem having a nice conversation here with one of the officials. He's not happy about something. I don't know what it is, but I don't know if he's getting a satisfactory explanation.
I don't think either coach has been all that pleased, and I'm not saying the officials have done a bad job. They were exactly right on that disputed call earlier in this half, but neither coach has been particularly pleased with certain calls that have been made in this game. 1st and 10 with 21 seconds to go before half. Here's Rapinski with 2 wings and an empty backfield, 3 wide receivers. He's back to throw. He throws left side, pass dropped at the 31-yard line. Bala dropped it as he was trying to catch it and think about getting out of bounds before he pulled it in. Greg Beard over on the coverage.
Yeah, it was a slightly low pass. It needs to be caught, but if it is caught, I don't think it works to Wycliffe's advantage.
I don't think he gets out. I don't know if he gets out of bounds.
He's not getting out of bounds, and that's it for the half.
Well, they would have had one timeout. They would have had to burn that. They would have had to burn that last timeout. 2nd and 10. As the clock down to 18 seconds to go before half. Orange leading Wycliffe 14-7. Rapinski with an empty backfield. Looks. Lofts one right side. Forkamp with the catch at the 25. Spins the 20. First down to the 18. That'll stop the clock to move the change with 10 seconds to go. And Wycliffe doesn't even wait for that. They'll take their last time out with 10 seconds to go to give them an opportunity here to throw one to the end zone before halftime. And I'll tell you, the Orange defense now in a similar position to where they were before earlier in this quarter. Now they're going to get a second opportunity to maybe knock one down.
Get the hands up.
Get the hands up, which they didn't do on the 4th and 16 touchdown pass to Bala.
The Orange DC will detonate if they don't get their hands up.
He will go nuclear. He will go nuclear.
He's like, whatever you guys do, get your hands up.
18 seconds, or 18-yard line is where it is. 10 seconds to go in the half. 14-7.
Visited in the press box by the great Scott Tennant.
You know everybody, Dean.
You know, Scott Tennant is a legend. Let me tell you.
Let me tell you, if you're on D-Man's Legends list,
he's the best.
Man,
I love Scotty T. I haven't seen him in forever.
Man, you're living life if you're on the D-Man's list, baby. All right, here we go. 10 seconds to go before half. Ball at the right hash at the Orange 18-yard line. Rapinski gets the shotgun snap. Walks over the end zone. There's a man there, but this time he's intercepted. They're going to bring it out at the 10 to the 20-yard line, and it will be out there at about the 21-yard line.
with the pick.
Yeah. Brian Purnell makes the pick. That will do it for the first half. And this time, they knock it down, or in this case, they get the pick.
Yeah.
They were ready for it that time. But a terrific first half of football here at Orange High School.
All right, we have a turnover chair.
They have a turnover chair. I love it.
They smashed the the folding chair into the turf 3 times for the pick.
You know what?
So
I love it. Okay, we'll let you enjoy the 2 marching bands from Wycliffe and Orange here at the half, and then D-Man and I will greet you here in a few minutes and get you ready for the second half. Jump on it. Oh, you're good. Okay. It's been a good one so far. Orange 14, Wycliffe 7. Enjoy halftime, everyone.
That's a good thing. That's a great thing.
I need to put my flash on or something, or? Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, let's see. There it is. There we go.
There we go. The band's still aren't on the field yet. No problem. No, good catch. Good catch. I was about to text you. I bumped up the overall level a little bit right before halftime, so it made a difference.
You ain't fooling me. What I say? I say I love me some people.
Oh, look at that. I love that. One of the Wycliffe players has got saxophone for his band.
We need the numbers. Major M right there too. What's that? Yeah. Where? Right here.
All right, brother. Oh yeah, if you could beat scores before the end of half, that'd be great. All right. Next break.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wycliffe High School is proud to present, under the direction of Mrs. Pamela Grace, Assistant Director Mr. Kevin Arnold, and Major Ed Advisor Miss Katie Barnes. is a song written in a hot tub. Really, true story. This tune is Panic at the Disco's highest charting song ever, and we hope you enjoy it as we continue with High Hopes. The swing band kicks off its show with Todd Rundgren banging the drum all day.
All right, as we start to get ourselves situated and back here at Orange High School, hope you enjoyed halftime, everyone. The marching bands of both Wycliffe and Orange entertaining you, along with the cheerleading squad from the Orange High School. 14-7 is your score here at the half. Orange on top of Wycliffe. It was Wycliffe. We had a scoreless first quarter. It was Wycliffe who drew first blood in the second quarter. On a 4th and 16 play at the Orange 20-yard line, Evan Rapinski on a little wheel route threw a 20-yard touchdown pass to Mason Bala. The extra point was good to make it 7-0 Wycliffe. On the ensuing drive, Orange struck back as Deontay White really led the charge. He did most of the work on the run and capped it off with a 10-yard touchdown scamper to tie the ball game at 7 as Dennis Maniloff rejoins me here. And then D-Man just before halftime with under 2 minutes to go in the half, and Orange starting 1st and 10 at their own 18 with 2 timeouts. The book says, well, just run the football, be content to go into halftime with a 7-7 tie. Instead, they fake everybody out and throw an 82-yard touchdown pass to Trayvon Davis off the throw of Zach Basharat. And it's 14-7 Orange.
Yeah, that's a straight-up deke, Dino, because the Orange staff had Deontay White on the sideline. And if I'm Wycliffe, I'm seeing no number 1-1 out there, and I'm thinking, all right, they're just going to take a knee or at least run it up the middle, run out the clock, and we'll see you on the other side of the half at 7-7. And instead, they go for broke. You and I thought perhaps that was the one shot they were going to take.
Yeah.
And if it worked, fine. If not, they were just going to run out the clock. So, heck of a call by the Orange staff, and it led to or created the touchdown.
Bolin will kick it off. A
Look at
little
this.
pooch trying to
Pooch.
beat everybody down. I think they got it at the 35-yard line.
Oh, my.
Wycliffe says they've got it on the onside. Let's double check. Just a little pooch to
Yes,
the
they
right
do.
side. They've got it at the 35-yard line.
Wow. It was a weird sort of an onside kick because, yeah, the formation was the same. They didn't make it look like you have to do that if you're going to do it out of halftime, a la the Saints in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Against, was it the Colts?
The Colts, yeah.
With Sean Payton. They made it look like a regular kickoff and then pooched it about 15 yards and recovered it.
Give Isaiah Bolin a lot of credit. He angled it beautifully, and the special teams unit for for Wycliffe beat everybody down the field. Bala gets the carry on the first down. He'll run it to the 31-yard line. Mason Bala picks up about 4 on the gain, close to 5 where they're going to mark it here near the 30, 2nd down and 5. And Wycliffe wants to seize the momentum back after that shocking play before halftime. Mars Porcello says, let's onside it.
Yeah, and it was a little more than 15 yards, but it was extremely well executed pooch. And, now Wycliffe has the ball at the 30.
Fort Camp stands behind Rapinski. 2nd and 5. It's Fort Camp gets the carry up the gut. Head down, and he should have the first down at the 25-yard line as he lunged forward with that 6'2 frame and gets the first down. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Blue Devils now at the Orange 25 as we're just underway in this third quarter. And a onside kick from Wycliffe has them set up beautifully now near the red zone. Out of the pistol, Rapinski with Fort Camp behind him. Wings to each side. And it'll be Rapinski keeping it. He'll just dive ahead, and he'll plunge down near the 18-yard line for a short gain of near 2. It'll be 2nd and 8 as P.J. Fisher gets credited for the tackle.
I wanted to say something, Dino. During halftime, I was checking the maps, checking the weather, and I feel like some of this wind that is coming south to north might push that storm north of us, I'm hoping.
Yes. Might catch a break
amateur
here.
Meteorologist.
Yeah, I was seeing some tweets as it's an empty backfield for Rapinski on 2nd and 8, and it'll be a little jet sweep. Here comes Fort Camp. I thought a flag went down as Fort Camp takes it down near the 11. No flag, just my imagination apparently. It's down near the 11, and it'll be 3rd down and 1. There were several Northwest Ohio games that had play suspended due to lightning.
Yeah, it
out in the
like
Lima area.
There's a serious line, but it might be skirting us by the time it gets to Cleveland.
3rd and about a yard here for the Blue Devils at the Orange 16-yard line. Rapinski with Fort Camp behind him. Bolin and Bala on wings to each side. And a receiver on each side deep. The give, Fort Camp, first down, as he'll take it out to the 13-yard line. Gain of 3, first down Blue Devils. Making the most of this onside kick.
I saw the look to the sideline, and it looked to me, but Rapinski looked to the sideline, and I saw a signal that looked to me to be a power play, just right up the middle, just plunge it through with Fort Camp.
Donnell Jackson goes out wide left, partner. 2 receivers to the right, 1st and 10 now from the 13 for the Blue Devils. Bala gets the carry, a little end around, and he spins inside the 10. Boy, he does that nicely and takes it down near the 7-yard line.
Bala's got the spin in his game.
Yeah,
There's
he
no doubt
does.
about it. It's a necessary part of his running.
Give Mason Bala a gain of about 6 on that play. 2nd and 4 at the Orange 7-yard line. Bolin will be on the right wing. Bala goes wing left.
I mean, I don't see any reason why Fort Camp doesn't get the ball here.
I would think so.
Unless it's a jet sweep action, but I think down deep here, you just pound it to the big fella.
2nd and 4 from the 7. It won't be Fort Camp this time. It's Bala gets the carry.
Yeah.
Second man through, and he goes all the way in. Touchdown for the Wycliffe Blue Devils.
If you're not going to run Fort Camp, you have Fort Camp be the lead blocker, and he just led him right through. And
That was a piece of cake.
yeah, and Bala came right in behind him and scored.
Mason Bala with his 2nd touchdown of the night. And all of a sudden, Wycliffe within an extra point of tying this off of the onside kick. So give Mars Porcello a ton of credit in his coaching staff. The onside kick paid off beautifully.
What a tremendous game so far, Dave DiNatale. Full of everything.
Love the coaches it's like they're coaching with their hair on fire tonight, and it's making for an entertaining ball game. A lot of great calls. Extra point for Bolin, a little line drive kick, but it does clear over the crossbar, and it is good to tie the game at 14 apiece with 8:30 to play here in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, Dino, you wonder when the decision is made by Wycliffe to onside kick it. You know, you wonder when it was made and then, you know, what the rationale was behind it. But it worked perfectly, and it gave them exactly what they needed.
Needed to get a spark back and a surge.
And then you had to capitalize on the spark. And what do? They go right down the remaining yardage and get the touchdown.
Yeah, Bala and Fort Camp did all the damage there. Scores from around high school football around Northeast Ohio. 1st quarter, Hoban leading St. Ignatius 14-7 down in Akron. Madison and Perry all tied at 7. Kirtland shutting out Geneva 22-0 in the 2nd quarter. And Stowe, in a game that was the runner-up for our high school football game of the week here at WKYC, Stowe leading Solon 22-10 in the 2nd quarter. And also Tyler Carey telling me the Indians and the Twins all knotted up at 2 early tonight over at Progressive Field. And big series for the Tribe.
Terrific job by both the bands at halftime. They did an outstanding rendition of a bunch of things, and we saw football players from both teams in the bands. So
it could be an offsides on this kickoff here for Wycliffe, so it'll back them up 5 yards. Yeah, I mean, I think Wycliffe had, 3 players in their band, and keep in mind the roster's at 21.
That's what we were remarking is like if you're a Wycliffe player and you're in the band, and your roster has 21 guys as best we can tell, that's a lot of work for an evening.
And then Marvin Davies, one of about 6 or 7 Orange Lions that we counted in the band for Orange. Yeah. And, I mean, Marvin was out there playing the tuba.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's not exactly a light instrument that you're dealing with there. So these guys are strong young men, you know. All right, so now I don't think we'll see any trickery.
No, I doubt it here.
They're not going to double up, but they'll probably squib it, though, because the wind is still a factor.
Greg Beard, I believe, is back deep to receive, not White. They're going to angle it right, but this time it's not an onside, but it goes out of bounds. Bolin not able to keep it in bounds Okay, there's White. I didn't see him back there. They had
You know
Beard
what?
as the deep man.
Honestly, Dave, I think that was intentional. I think they decided, you know what, we're not going to give
Let's not mess around with
we're
field
not going to
position.
give White a running start on this and have him potentially break it.
We'll stay 35-yard line and just call it even.
We'll take our medicine and at the 35, yeah. I think that was an intentional kick out of bounds.
Boland's pretty accurate. I would agree with you. That looked awfully. That looked like it was designed to kick. He was kicking it to his coach over there. So Orange will start out 1st and 10 from their own 35, and we're back even now at 14 apiece after Wycliffe started this. I said 35, by the way. I meant 40-yard line is where this drive will start. But after the onside kick, a terrific touchdown drive on a short field, about a 35-yard touchdown drive that culminated in the 7-yard run by Mason Bala for 6. Orange will keep Zach Basharat in at quarterback. He's earned it. He's played well here tonight, including an 82-yard touchdown pass. Out of the pistol, 1st and 10. Here comes White. Gets that delay, cuts back, goes to the 40. Look out, 45.
Wow.
Got a block to the 50, to the left side 40. He's to the 30, 25-20. White breaks the tackle to the 10. He's to the 5-yard line and out of bounds there.
Oh, are you kidding me with that run?
Fort Camp was the last
Unbelievable.
man to prevent a touchdown by Deontay White.
Wow. Deontay White, are you kidding me? He bounced off like 4 guys.
If you've ever seen NFL films and Marcus Allen's touchdown run in the Super Bowl 18, that's about what Deontay White just did. Started running right, nothing there, reversed his field left.
Afterburners and then bounced off some people.
53 yards on that gain. And he won't have a better looking run than that all year, I guarantee it.
Go right back to him.
1st and goal at the 7. Orange trying to go right back in the lead. White on the draw. Goes to about the line of scrimmage, maybe a half yard. Fort Camp held on to him and would not let him go. Fort Camp might end up with 20 tackles tonight. 2nd and goal.
And Dino, even when White goes down, it takes a while for him to go down.
Yeah.
He will not let you knock him down on first contact.
2nd and goal at the 7. White to the right, a Basharat who looks over now at his head coach and gets the play from Adam Becklem.
I'm telling you,
audible.
it's a fake audible.
Yeah, like we saw that. We saw them do that earlier. Show the audible and then go back to the draw.
Yeah, they're going to White. I'm telling you.
2nd and goal from the 7. Basharat will keep it. Runs to his right and got tripped up as he took it to about the 4-yard line. It's a gain of 3. It'll be 3rd and goal there.
Yeah, I apologize for that errant prediction.
I thought so too.
The twist was we're going to run the quarterback behind White.
Yaya Basharat checks in as everybody goes. This is interesting. The center stays on the ball, and then you've got the other 10 players for Orange, looks over at the coach to get the play signaled in.
You know what we haven't seen is a toss sweep to White. I wonder if that's in the
look at this.
White
White is going to get the snap here. On 3rd and goal, White's got the snap. He tried to up over the pile and move to the end zone, and he's brought down inside the 4-yard line. Well done by the Blue Devil defense.
Yeah,
Zach Estevez was there at the bottom of the pile, and it's going to be 4th and goal. And a big decision here for Orange.
They're going
a tie ball game. They're going to go for it, and this time Basharat will move back to the quarterback spot. 4th and goal, Orange at the 4. Basharat will have White to his right, and then Davis and Davies out wide left. Yaya Basharat will go over now to wing right.
We're looking at White out of the backfield on a flare to the right. I wonder about that.
Yeah, maybe. 4th and
flat
goal.
pass.
Basharat lofts it. End zone. Overshot his man. Incomplete. Was looking for Marvin Davies. And it will be 1st and 10 for the Wycliffe Blue Devils at their own 4-yard line. They hold on downs.
That's a pass that the young man's going to want to have back because it's available.
They had the matchup they wanted.
He never gave the receiver a chance to catch the ball. That's the unfortunate part about it.
All right.
When you look back, Dino, that 3rd down stop of the Wildcat snap to White.
Key play.
If this game turns out in Wycliffe's favor, that play there where they stopped him from getting in will be an enormous play if Wycliffe winds up winning this game.
Exactly 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Wycliffe takes over from their own 4-yard line. Here we go. Fort Camp gets the carry, and Fort Camp will stumble forward as he goes across the 5 and takes it out near the 8-yard line. Call it about a gain of 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6.
You got the two distinct styles with the bell cow backs. You got Fort Camp, who likes to go low, and you got White, who likes to stay high.
Fort Camp behind quarterback Evan Rapinski. 2nd down and 6. It's Fort Camp again. This time Orange strings him out, and they will put him down for a loss back to the 7-yard line. Well strung out there by the Lions defense. Tariq Taylor helping to lead the charge, and I think Greg Beard came over to finish it off.
Okay, Wycliffe, what do you got in your bag of tricks?
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see any trickeration
I doubt
here.
it. Not where we are here. They'll keep the ball at the line of scrimmage at the 8, so it's 3rd and 6 from there as we approach 5 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Rapinski on the shotgun. On a nice give to Bolin running left side on just a bit of trickeration. And Bolin takes it close to the first down to the 15-yard line. Everybody thinking Fort Camp. And on the fake, Bolin swings left and gets the first down.
Yeah, misdirection, jet sweep, and it pays off big for Wycliffe to get that first down when they would have been punting out of their end zone.
Wow. Needed 8, got about 9. First down, Blue Devils. And watch the clock here, because if Wycliffe would love right now to grind out a long drive and grab the lead here. Tied at 14. First down, the give. It's Fort Camp running right, and nice job there by Greg Beard to upend him at about the 20-yard line. They'll actually spot him shy of the 20 at the 19-yard line. And we've also got whistles by the officials there on the far side for what? I don't know. Might be a chain issue here.
Fundamentally sound tackling by Beard there. Got low on the bigger man and took out his legs.
I think the officials are actually calling a break in the action with 4:25. It's more or less a hydration break timeout. Yeah,
Dino?
yeah.
Wow.
Everybody going over to their benches and getting hydrated here.
Wow. Another one.
It's been a long time. I've seen this, but it's been a long time since I've seen a stoppage of play like that.
I don't know. What are we doing here?
Oh, do we have a? I wonder if our storm trackers might have just seen lightning.
Oh dear.
Oh boy.
Dino, I can look out to my right and I can tell you where the storm system is, and there's the lightning. It's not going to hit us, but it's lightning though.
Yes.
I mean, that's the problem. You could see the storm is moving to the northeast. It's going to skirt us, I'm almost positive, but you can see lightning in the distance.
And by law, they have to do that. Let's see here. The officials.
But the lights have not turned off.
No, not yet. And for the moment, the Orange defense is coming back on the field.
Fans are wondering what's going on. They want to
as
get
we
out
are up here. We want to,
the fans
if they
want to
need
get out
if they
of
need
the,
to evacuate, we need to be told. But
yeah,
at this point, we appear to be playing on. I was saying before we had that stoppage, and the reason why I just assumed it was everybody was going over to get hydrated. As I look over, it's Wycliffe, because of the way they move the football, this drive started at their own 4-yard line. They really would love to run clock here, burn time, and grab the lead and really take over time of possession.
I wonder if that guy down there, Dino,
on
is
the
a
orange side is
weather guy.
He might be.
And I wonder if they saw that the system is moving to the north of us, but still, if it's within 10 miles, the lights are shutting off.
For the moment, we stay. 2nd down, and this time Rapinski will keep it as he faked it to Fort Camp, and he gets it out to the 20-yard line for a short pickup, only about 2 on the play. Tariq Taylor on the stop, so that'll bring up 3rd down, and we'll call it 4. They're going to give him forward progress to the 21, so it'll be 3rd and 4 there.
Here's another thing that was fascinating that possibly happened is the official sees lightning, wants to know how far away it is. You know? I mean, he might have said, is it 20 miles away, 15 miles away?
I'm checking here. I just got Tyler Carey. The storm front, according to Betsy Kling, it's moving into the west side of Cleveland, is on 3rd and 4. It is a run that's going to be short of the first down, as it was Bala on the carry, and he'll be brought down at the 22. That's 2 yards shy of the first down. It'll be 4th and 2 in a punting situation, D-Man.
There's evidence right there of how well coached the Orange players are, because that was the play that got them on the previous 3rd down. That misdirection,
yes.
Jet sweep. They ran the same thing, and the Orange players were right there to stop it.
Deontay White in single safety at his 48 to await the punt from Bolin. Good rush in there. White's got it at the 46-yard line. Waits for a block. Goes near side. Takes it to the 45. And trying to break a tackle and can't do it. By the time everybody else, Wycliffe showed up there, he was brought down. But that was
you need
close
5 guys to
bring him down.
I mean, he's relentless.
And I got to tell you,
down.
the first Blue Devil that got Deontay White came very close again to getting his face mask. So, because of Orange in the field position, they take over right back in on the Wycliffe side of the field at the 45, despite the fact that they turned it over on downs inside the 5-yard line in a 14-14 tie. We've got 2:42 to play in the 3rd quarter. I just wonder how long we have. Indians game, by the way, is now delayed in the 3rd quarter, or the 3rd inning, tied at 2. So it is coming. Question is, how long can we get into this thing here before we have any kind of a stoppage? Ball at the 45 of Wycliffe. As we resume action, Basharat to throw. Looking deep, has a man wide open. Incomplete at the 15-yard line. He had Davies open, and he led him by a half step. Incomplete.
Oh, that is one that, that stings, because he was wide open.
Marvin Davies, D-Man, could have run to Youngstown. He was that wide open.
Yeah, it's just, it's tough. It's tough when you're a quarterback there and you see the play worked exactly the way you wanted it to. Your receivers behind the defense just led them too far. That's all.
I'm going to bring up a point with you after this play, because it reminded me of last week for a second. On 2nd down and 10, Zach Basharat will go to Greg Beard. Beard to the 35, breaking tackles. He'll take it down to the 32-yard line and a gain of 13 and a first down. Remember last week we were watching Kenston. They would miss a play, or a player would drop a pass or miss a play, and they'd go right back to him.
Yeah.
Well, earlier in this quarter, Basharat was trying to throw the touchdown on the fade to Davies and missed him, overshot him. And so what do they do on the first down? They try to pass to Davies again.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, they're going to complete that pass.
I'll tell you what, I like the way Beard runs the football, and I think that little jet sweep caught Wycliffe napping.
He's the one now playing running back next to Basharat. He'll get the carry, and Beard will get stood up at about the 31-yard line, only about a gain of 1, as Deontay White is getting a well-deserved break. Zach Estevez on the tackle for the Wycliffe Blue Devils, as we are under 2 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter of a 14-14 tie. And I think Greg Beard's a little tired.
Yeah.
He's going to come out, and White will come back in.
And in his defense on that previous run there, he didn't have any room. But, you got a rotation. There we go.
There's the signal, and we are in storm delay mode. The alert has just gone off. With 1:32 to go here in the 3rd quarter, and the fans are going to be headed to their cars here, as we are in rain delay mode here, storm delay mode here at Orange High School in a 14-all tie with 1:32 to go here in the 3rd quarter. We knew it was coming. D-Man, I thought we looked at the radar at halftime. I thought we were going to be all right, but the storm moved in very quickly. Well, wait a minute here. Now
wait. This assistant coach is intense.
Yeah.
This assistant coach is very intense.
Yeah.
He's upset about something.
Well, something about the announcement. The assistant athletic director is working with the official weather person, the weather spotter, I guess you would say, down there, and they're trying to see what's on the field here. And I'm not sure everybody's in agreement that there should have been the horn going off or what have you. But as we said, they're in a rain delay at Progressive Field, and I saw the image. I looked at Betsy Kling's image of what was happening over on the west side of Cleveland, and certainly looked like the storms were coming in there. So
It has
there's
not
nothing.
arrived
There's
here
nothing
yet.
wrong. There's nothing wrong with being in delay mode. I mean, nothing at all, and being safe and being cautious here. I think that one of the things is the players need to know. Do we go to the locker room or what do we do here? So there's still a debate here going on out at the 40-yard line. The officials talk to, let's see, now whistles are blowing, and are we staying here or what? Are we playing here or what? The players are going back on the field. Hold everything.
Attention fans, we are now going to resume play.
Oh,
Head back towards the stadium.
let me tell you something. I love the assistant coach on Orange. He was adamant that we
we got to play.
He was awesome. He was furious that horn sounded.
All right, so for the moment, we stay. And that's actually, it's helpful for both teams to have that little bit of a delay there because everybody can get hydrated. I mean, everybody on Wycliffe is basically a two-way player, and a lot of the key players for Orange are two-way players, so everybody gets a bit of a breather here.
And, Dino, there's no question that the young man on the 36-yard line to the near side.
He's our storm spotter.
He's our storm guy. Yeah, he's responsible for telling us where that storm is and how close it is.
All right, we're back to action. Minute 20 to go here in the football game. White gets the carry. He runs left side to the 25, breaks the tackle 20, he's to the 15, 10, 5, touchdown Deontay White. And the Orange Lions back in the lead, 20-14, with a minute 10 to go in the third quarter.
All right, let me give a little advice to Wycliffe. You cannot tackle Devontae White high. You have to go low if you want to have any shot. Okay?
Boy, is he good.
Man alive. If you try to go to his pads, he's gonna shake you. He's gonna just shake you off like lint.
Whitehead for the extra point, 20-14, Lions with a minute 10 to go here in the third quarter. Good snap, good hold, the kick up, and he booms it through. 21-14, Orange. Late in this third quarter, I said before the touchdown in the game, in the quarter, but that was a big sequence there. We thought everybody was going to go back to the locker room, and we're going to a storm delay break. And if anything, it gave Deontay White a bit of a breather. He had been taking a couple of plays off there, and they had let Greg Beard run the football. They bring arrested White back in on the first play out of the delay, and what did he do? Run for a touchdown.
But I also think, Dino, that the coaching staff for Orange felt momentum and did not want to stop.
No.
If at all possible, and knowing that safety's first and all that, but they were like, if there's any way we can just keep this going,
let's
we
play.
Shouldn't be in a delay.
32 yards on the touchdown run for Deontay White. And somebody else from the Dennis Maniloff Hall of Fame list
somebody
is here.
else. The Tim King. One of my all-time favorites, Tim King. I got all my favorite people
Tim, as I said earlier, if you're on D-Man's list, life is good, man. Life is good.
TK, baby.
All right.
Tim King, let me tell you, not only is
what am I going to do without you next week?
I mean, you're going to suffer.
I am going to suffer.
Tim King is not only a great guy, he knows football like nobody.
Whitehead booms one towards the end zone. Forkamp with the catch at the 3-yard line. Here he comes. Out to the 20. Forkamp to the 30. Forkamp to the 40. Forkamp's off to the races. One man to beat. They won't catch him. Touchdown, Chase. Forkamp.
Wait, there's laundry.
Laundry. Flag down at the 45. Held everything.
A very, very late flag.
I'm telling you, that was the point, Dennis, where the only man left for Fort Camp to beat was the kicker, Whitehead. And it must have been on that block. And I think Fort Camp might have beaten him anyway. Wow.
So what is the call here?
Three officials with an all-important call
now,
here.
Are they? I mean, I wonder. Are they talking about?
But now they're going to need the entire officiating crew.
I've never understood the full officiating crew huddle. Based on, I mean, not everybody saw it, right?
This would be.
But I've got Laundry on the other side.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting there. It is a penalty against Wycliffe.
Two penalties.
There's two penalties against the Blue Devils. I saw one was a personal foul. So that will wipe out a 97-yard kickoff return for a touchdown by Chase Fortcamp. And poor Fortcamp, he doesn't take a play off during the course of a game. And he just ran 97 yards for absolutely nothing.
And I found out, Dino, my friend Tim King's son is number 55 on Orange.
Miles King.
Miles King. So, yeah, that's cool. We did not see the personal foul, but it is going to severely.
Yeah, you're talking now all the way back to the Blue Devil. Looks like they're going to spot it at the 29-yard line. Wipes out what would have been a touchdown by Fortcamp.
Wow.
There's a sideline. The personal foul call was sideline interference. And then you also had, that was on the far side penalty. The near side penalty was the illegal block.
Wait a minute. You're telling me one of the penalties was sideline interference by the Wycliffe coaching staff?
Oh, the Wycliffe, yeah, the Wycliffe bent sideline. Yes.
Kickoff return?
Where everything was happening on the opposite side.
What is that?
I've never seen that either.
It wasn't even close to where the play was.
It's Friday the 13th. First down, Fortcamp gets the carry. He'll cross the 30 and drag a couple of orange jerseys out to the 32-yard line. Gain of about 3.
Is it possible, Dino, that the Wycliffe players or coaches were running onto the field?
That might have been in celebration or something. Wow. I have to guess that that's probably what it was. I mean, it would have been wiped out anyway because of the illegal block, but
that's a tough penalty to swallow.
Yeah,
the two of them.
30 seconds to go in the third quarter. 21-14 Orange. Wycliffe have to lick the wounds and go back to work on that reverse jet sweep side as Bala will take it across the 35 to the 36-yard line.
Okay.
Going to be just shy of a first down, about 2 yards. So it'll be a third down from that spot. Sergio Johnson over there on the stop.
And that's it for the third quarter, Dino.
I'm watching Sergio Johnson. He was shaken up earlier. Looked like he was cramping up, and he's still limping a little bit, but he was in there to make that last tackle. 3rd and 2 when we come back and start the fourth quarter for the Wycliffe Blue Devils. And a game that's had a ton of momentum swings on each side. We've seen, a disputed 4th and 16 call that ended up getting replayed and a touchdown. We saw an 82-yard touchdown pass before halftime, an onside kick that led to a touchdown coming out of halftime, a storm delay that was not a storm delay, and a kick return for a touchdown called back by 2 penalties, one of which is a sideline interference. I think, do I have all that? Did I have all that right?
We probably left some things out. Dino, we were told by the fine people of Orange that we were going to have an entertaining game, and guess what? That's exactly what's happened.
I lost my.
Our designated weatherman has moved down to about the 10-yard line, for whatever that's worth.
That's interesting. Hoban now leading St. Ignatius 28-10 in the second quarter. Perry over Madison 28-14 in the second. That might be the best offense in Northeast Ohio. Next to Hoban is Perry. Kirtland shutting out Geneva at the half, 22-0. Garrettsville Garfield over Berkshire at the half, 27-7. Stowe leading Solon 29-13 at the half, and Medina over Wadsworth in the second quarter, 17-14.
Dino, I'm sensing a little pre-storm cooling going on right now, so it might be a race against the clock.
Yeah, you got that right. 3rd and 4. High snap that's bobbled, picked up by the Blue Devils, but they're going to be brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Greg Beard with the tackle back at the 34-yard line. It was either Fortcamp or Bolin that ended up getting that bobbled snap. Again, the timing gets destroyed on that play, and Bolin's going to have to punt the football over here to Orange.
This is all right, I found my favorite assistant coach in all of sports. The DC for Orange. I've got to find out who he is. This guy is awesome.
He's amazing. Bolin drops the snap, picks it up. He's going to have to punt it, and he gets a very short kick, and it's going to roll out of bounds right at the Wycliffe 45-yard line right below us. I mean, Bolin did all he could just to get it away, but that is a big-time snafu on special teams. And it'll be 1st and 10 now for Orange in Wycliffe territory at the 45-yard line. Wow.
Yeah, you had the snap that was dropped, picked up, and then the shank, and all of a sudden Orange has the ball, at the 45 of Wycliffe. So a disastrous
and right now,
punt attempt.
Orange has all the momentum
And the lead.
here early in this fourth quarter, and they have Deontay White.
Yes.
Shotgun, Zach Besherat gets it. Hands, White stumbles as he got the pickup, and he'll be brought down for a loss back at the 46-yard line. Just kind of lost his footing there, and Jack Bunn fell on him for the Blue Devils. 2nd down and 11.
Yeah, one of the guys who has been opening up holes for Deontay White is my man Tim King's son at right. I see him at right tackle.
Right tackle, Miles King, yeah.
Yeah, Miles King.
6'2", 300-pound senior. 2nd and 11. As Basharat waits for the shotgun snap. And he'll go to White with a hole. Gets to the 40-yard line. Breaks a tackle. And Fort Camp finally wrestles him down at the 39-yard line. Actually, they'll spot him right around the 40. It will bring up a 3rd down and 5. As the clock continues to move, we approach 10 minutes to go here in the football game.
Deontay White, he plays bigger than he is. He's fast and he's elusive, but he's also strong.
165 pounds, but so strong, especially in the legs. It's just so hard to bring him down. Big 3rd and 5 play here coming up. As the tight end Fellinger goes in motion, he'll shift to the left. And here comes Deontay White up the gut, breaks a tackle. And he's brought down, though, on a nice tackle by Mason Bala at the 36-yard line. It could be about a half-yard short. Had a good burst of steam there, and Bala with a one-on-one tackle to set up a 4th down and a half-yard.
Yeah, it's an easy call to go for it, and you give it to White, and
just let your offensive line win the war here.
Exactly.
Out of the pistol, 4th and about a half-yard. White, 1st down and a lot more. Inside the 30, inside to the 25, and almost broke it for another touchdown. Nick Martinitis made a touchdown-saving tackle, but White is down at the 21-yard line. And I wonder if he maybe isn't having some cramping issues as he will go to a seated position. He has been so brilliant running the football tonight.
Looking at the left shin, the left ankle area. We'll see. Yeah, he's up.
He's up. And he will limp off to this, and Greg Beard will come in and replace him. We've seen Beard run the football pretty well tonight in his own accord. 9:10 to go here in the fourth quarter. Orange leading it 21-14, looking for their first victory here in 2019. Wycliffe came in 2-0 with 2 impressive victories over Oberlin and Painesville Harvey. But it's been tough sledding tonight for the Blue Devils here in the Lions' Den. 1st and 10. Basharat gets the snap, hands, Beard, runs right side, flags down at the 15-yard line as Beard goes out of bounds. Yeah. And I got to tell you, Beard was tackled near the track. And
saw that one.
Wycliffe was fortunate not to have a late hit, but the holding is going to bring it back.
Yeah, you could see that one. Timing was off slightly on that play, and then the hold occurred.
Just watching the trainers down here on the near side on the Orange bench, stretching out that left leg of Deontay White, as the holding will bring the football back to around the 30-yard line here, as I think we're going to spot it here. 8:51 to go in the fourth. Orange 21, Wycliffe 14. That penalty now will make it a 1st and 19 for the Lions. Beard will stand to Basharat's left. And Basharat's going to keep it and run. Makes a nice move inside the 30. Still on his feet as another flag goes down. And Basharat goes down at the 25-yard line. Zach Estevez on the tackle, holding Lions.
Yeah.
just when you thought that Orange was poised to maybe throw a knockout punch here, back-to-back penalties
And Dino, you had seen
are marching them here.
You had seen such clean play from the line, relatively speaking, up until this possession.
Just got a note from Tyler Carey. A lot of lightning in downtown Cleveland. Get ready. Clock running. Clock is our ally. 8:35 to go here in the fourth quarter. It's now a 1st and 31 out of the penalty. Basharat, play fake, rolling left, little shovel pass, and he throws it to Yaya Basharat. He makes the catch at about the 36-yard line. Got about 6 on 1st and 31, so it'll be 2nd and 25. So Zach Basharat to Yaya Basharat, 6 yards, 2nd down.
I don't know if the shovel portion of that play was in the playbook, but it's sort of an improvised
Not bad.
flip, and it worked out for a positive yardage.
Deontay White is back in the football game. He'll stand to the right of Zach Basharat on 2nd and 25 from the Wycliffe 37. Lions up by a touchdown here in the fourth quarter. Basharat from the shotgun, back to throw. Now he's going to tuck and run. He's got some room. Makes a nice move to 30. Left side 25 and out of bounds there. Good piece of running for Zach Basharat. Got about 12 on that pickup.
The ankle-breaking move right around the 30. Just tremendous athleticism and quickness.
Well, now here, D-Man, it's much more manageable. They'll spot it at the 25. It's about a 3rd and 13. 3rd and 14, we'll call it to be more precise. Now it doesn't seem quite as mounting here, and if you can do another 7-yard play and have another manageable 4th down play here, you still have an opportunity here to do something here if you're the Lions. Wycliffe desperate here for a stop and to get the football back. 3 receivers on the right, including Beard. 3rd and about 14. Basharat rolling right, still looking. He'll run it at the 25 to the 20 to the 15, and out of bounds there. He's going to be just short.
They got
of the
him
first
stepping
down.
out outside the 20.
Oh boy!
Whoa!
At the 21.
It looked from here, but we were screened by some of the Orange players, but they've got him stepping out at the 21.
Only a gain of 4 when it looked like he was around the 15-yard line. So it will bring up a 4th and 10.
No argument from the Orange sideline, so he must have stepped out at the 21.
7:22 to go. I just heard a heads up, guys. We are in storm preparation mode. Orange leading it 21-14. They've got a 4th down and 10 at the Wycliffe 21-yard line. The give is to White. He'll cut inside to the 15. He's to the 10, to the 9-yard line where it will be 1st and goal. Deontay White follows behind P.J. Fisher, and Miles King gets the 1st down.
What a run by White. Tremendous blocking up front by our man, Miles King.
20 carries.
Leading the way.
182 yards for Deontay White, and I believe 2 touchdowns.
What a backbreaker for Wycliffe there. I mean, you've got to hold them in that situation, and instead, Orange has got a 1st and goal.
And valuable time is ticking off the clock.
Tick.
Under 7 minutes to go. 1st and goal, Lions. Already up by 7. Zach Basharat awaits the shotgun snap. He's got it. He gives White at the 5. Breaks the tackle again. He's to the 2-yard line and put down there where it will be 2nd and goal.
The big man, he just, I call him a big man. I mean, he's not necessarily big, but he plays like he's 6'4" and about 250. Hammers the hole.
He can play on my team any day.
He just keeps bouncing off people. Does not go down.
2nd and goal.
You have to drag him down with multiple guys.
Clock still running. We approach 6 minutes to go. Orange is in no hurry whatsoever here. Already up 7, trying to tack on more. 2nd and goal from the 2.
You got to go to 1-1.
Basharat
keep going.
Gets the snap, turns, gives. It is Davies with the carry. He'll go in. Touchdown for Orange. Marvin Davies with his 1st touchdown of the season. And the lead is 13 for the Orange Lions.
You got a Wycliffe player down. Again, another deke to, what the Wycliffe defense thought it was seeing White, and they go to Davies instead. Wycliffe player on the ground.
Yeah, on his back. That touchdown with 5:52 to play here in the fourth quarter, 27-14 Orange. A race against the clock to try to finish this game before severe weather moves in to this part of the area.
And Wycliffe is in serious trouble now.
Well, that's the problem, D-Man, because they've got – the good news is they've got all their timeouts. The bad news is it's not an offense that's equipped to score quickly. They're not a passing team.
To throw the ball all over the field.
And that was why they had to get a stop on that fourth down play, and they couldn't do it. And Deontay White set him up. Marvin Davies finished it off for a touchdown. You feel good for Marvin Davies because he had that touchdown, that fade pass in the end zone that was overthrown, and that go route down the seam that would have been a touchdown that Basharat overthrew him. So he did get his touchdown.
Well, I mean, there you go again, Dino, what you're talking about.
It's that theory.
They're cognizant of, okay, we know Davies is playing well. He's getting open. Let's give him, an opportunity to score a touchdown down here. Reward him for the hard work that he's put in during the game. All right, good news here. The Wycliffe player, we still can't see his number, but he's seated on the turf.
And again, don't know for sure, but cramping is usually the initial thing in something like this, but everybody going to go to a knee and out of respect and to make sure the young man's okay, and he's being tended to here. 5:52 to play here in the football game at the Lions Den. This half started with an onside kick by Wycliffe.
You see it down in the at the pylon at the goal line. You got the officials checking in with the weather people, the impromptu weather guys, just to see.
Yeah, this injury timeout is a good delay for them to really gauge how much more we can go before it becomes unsafe to do this here.
And you know the Orange coaching staff is like, we would love to get this thing wrapped up right now.
Yep.
Get out of here
We're good.
as fast as we can.
It's kind of like when you have 5 and a half, you're in the bottom of the fifth inning and you're the home team and you have the lead. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
We can go in the locker room. We can go in the clubhouse now. We're fine.
But you've got an injury, and
you've got to make sure the young man's okay. And as we said earlier, any injury for Wycliffe is significant just because of their numbers. They're so thin. They only traveled 21 players here tonight.
How are your binocs, Dino? I got 57.
Is that 57?
Clay Matthews?
Yeah, Mikey Moon was the player that was shaken up for the Wycliffe Blue Devils. All right, here's Whitehead for the extra point. Whiteman, I should say. Connor Whiteman, the 6'3", 180-pounder. 3 for 3 in extra points this evening. Trying to make it a 14-point lead for the Lions.
Head coach for Orange is talking to the AD.
Adam Becklem wanting to know how much more football do we have? Extra point.
That's literally what we're down to, Dino. We're down to a race against time.
Yeah.
And these coaches know it.
Yep.
You've got the head coach talking to the AD right now, wanting to know what is my time frame.
Can we get this done? And you can feel it up here. The D-man Crossbreeze, who I looked like I saw a flash. The D-man Crossbreeze is coming in. It's definitely getting cooler up top here in Orange. 5:52 to go. And we are in a race against the clock to try to finish this game. Otherwise, we go into a storm delay. For the moment, we're still good. We'll see for how much longer. As Whiteman will kick it off. By the way, another big moment. The Fort Camp touchdown that got called back on the kickoff.
The double penalty, one of them you can understand, I guess.
Yes.
The other one was bizarre to me. A sideline infraction on Wycliffe on the opposite side of where the run took place.
Well,
the return.
they could use a Fort Camp run back, and they're not going to really give him an opportunity here. As they'll kick it to one of the up men at about the 20-yard line.
Look out.
Going forward to the 35, to the 40, to the 41. It was Mason Bala gets a pretty good return. Now, Wycliffe has all their timeouts left, trailing by 14 points. And they're going to have to hurry here. Get something, get a touchdown quickly, and take your chances. But again, as D-Man pointed out, scoring quickly is not necessarily, I just saw another flash, it's not in the DNA of this Blue Devils team. Rapinski will go to the shotgun, and on that reverse jet, Bauer gets the carry, and he'll take it forward to the 43, and that's about it. A good job. They've done a much better job defending that in the second half as Bauer's brought down.
Yeah, and what do you
at the
know?
43.
Deontay White is in on the tackle. I mean, this guy, holy mackerel, what a game.
He's been brilliant. We'll talk to him after the game, assuming an Orange victory along with head coach Adam Becklem. And D-Man wants to be introduced to his new favorite coach, and I think they're just going to stop their play here.
Uh-oh.
Timeout.
This can't be good.
The Storm posse is heading onto the field
is
here.
coming out onto the field. That's not a good sign.
It's actually not the it's the acting AD tonight.
Sorry,
Athletic
acting
director
AD.
Katie Hine is she was out of town for a wedding. I talked to her earlier today. So the assistant AD is kind of tasked with handling everything today.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
This guy just lit up. All right, here comes
As Adam Becklem will run on the
Becklem
field
wants to know
here,
what's
and
going on.
That's confirmed. We are going with that.
we'll see what the verdict is. It
They're
looks
going
like
in.
they're sending
They're going
everybody to get. They're sending everybody in. Yes, so that will put us into a delay here.
Great to see him.
5:15 to go, fourth quarter. Storm delay time here at Orange High School as the Lions lead 28-14. But yeah, it's close.
Whoa.
The flashes
Still
that are
no
coming
rain,
in.
but the lightning is definitely in the area.
Yes. Unbelievable. I mean, it's Friday the 13th. I mean, why not? I mean, we've seen everything else tonight. You know what? You know what I blame? I blame the crazy coin toss, the delay we had in starting the game.
If we
It
start
cost
this
us
at 6
it cost us
o'clock,
15 minutes. We
like
might have
we were
we
supposed to.
might have finished this game.
That's right. That's a fair point. That was a 15-minute delay that was unnecessary because everybody was here. Everybody was dressed on the field. The players were standing ready to go out for the coin flip for 10 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to sound snarky. I'm just saying that
we call it as we see it.
We might have gotten out of here. This game is at the 2 hour and 30 minute mark. But as Dennis pointed out, we didn't really kick off tonight until about 10 after 6 or so. I don't know. Maybe we could have gotten it in. Maybe we couldn't have. I don't know. But that's right for the moment. It's a moot point because we are in a storm delay with 5:15 to go.
Hello.
Okay.
That was not lightning.
That was not lightning. A piece of equipment came down from the roof here. Okay.
Oh,
okay.
man.
All right.
Everybody's on edge.
I know, right? So we
feels like it's going to start raining,
Yeah,
but
let's
we are
see
definitely seeing
this is what I wish I could.
lightning.
I wish I could dial up Betsy Kling or Matt Wentz here just to let us know what's happening there. But we checked the forecast and checked the map here. This has been. Let's see, where are we at? Oh, yeah, that's.
I don't know how we haven't been hit by any rain.
Honestly,
yet.
I don't know either. Honestly, I don't either. It's like we've had this. We've been in kind of this no man's land zone where everything's kind of missed where we're at here in the Pepper Pike area.
Except lightning. That's
Except
what
lightning.
we have seen.
And we thought we were going to have a delay with about 4 minutes to go in the third quarter, and it ended up being wiped out, overruled. We resumed playing football, but with everybody monitoring things very closely. And
you know what?
It's been a race against the clock here in the fourth quarter, and we couldn't quite make it here before the delay started. The winds really are picking up here as
And they've shifted.
Yes.
You're seeing a shift the other way, north to south, which is indicative of where that storm's coming from. But the other thing is I'm seeing a lot of people hightailing it out of here. On the cars. So I don't know if they have any plans of coming back.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the question is, if as the thunder is coming through now, and you wonder if we can get this storm in and out quickly enough where conditions will be right where we can come out and finish out the last 5 minutes and 15 seconds, or if we end up going to a situation where game over, Orange wins.
And we know how tough football players are. They could play in a downpour. They could play in a snowstorm, but you cannot play when lightning is in the area. That is one of the most fearful things you can encounter where weather's concerned.
Yeah, looking down over the far side.
There's the young assistant AD doing his work.
Yeoman's job by him tonight.
Defying the lightning, by the way. He's daring the lightning to hit him.
Yes. We'll stay on here for a couple of minutes. We'll get some scores here, if I can, from Tyler Carey, and we'll pass those on to you. And then we will probably break away, and if we come back on here, we'll send out a push alert on the WKYC app, and we'll notify everybody via Facebook and everything else that we're back on here. But, the rules, of course, it's always – 30 minutes after the last bolt of lightning in the area, and frankly, we haven't even had anything significant come here yet. So I think the worst is still to come before we're all said and done. D-Man, while we have a second, because it's rare that we have an opportunity, we have a moment here. I want to break out of high school football just for a second and pay tribute to somebody that I think you and I just were absolutely devastated to lose this week, and that's talking, of course, about Fred McLeod, the television play-by-play voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers, the native of Strongsville, 67 years young. He was the youngest 67-year-old I ever saw, and this has been a devastating week for everybody who's in our profession, everybody who's a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, an NBA fan. It's just been devastating. Today was the visitation. Tomorrow is going to be the funeral at Bay Presbyterian that will be carried. The Cavaliers are allowing everybody to stream it, so we'll be able to watch it. And I know he meant a lot to you and to your family, and he meant a lot to everybody who's ever been a broadcaster.
Yeah, I mean, I was devastated along with the Cleveland community, the NBA community. You saw the news of his death being covered nationally, as it should have been. He was a transcendent type figure because not only was he terrific at what he did in the play-by-play voice, but he also was a superhuman being.
Yes.
And the thing was, he didn't even have to try to be. It was just in his DNA to be a good person. And by that, I mean, if you were a young journalist especially, or a young play-by-play guy in your case, or anybody in journalism, even out of journalism, if you sought him out for advice, he gave it to you. And he made you feel like you were the most important person that he was talking to, or texting, or DMing in my case. I mean, I used to write Cavs reports for Cleveland.com, and I used the DVR. I used replays for one of my key resources. So as a result, I was watching the Fox Sports Ohio telecast in order to do the game reports. And I would often DM Fred and say, I called him Freddie, and say, I DM Freddie and say, did you read my game report? Did you read my game report? And he'd say, yes, I did. Great job, And it just made you feel so good.
Made you feel special.
That Fred McLeod, here comes the rain, by the way, that Fred McLeod actually cared about you.
Yes.
But here's the thing. It wasn't an act. It was genuine. That's who this man was. And, so the news of his death on Monday was just mind-numbing. I'm still in shock to a degree. I couldn't believe, and I've known him for basically all the time that he's been play-by-play of the Cavs. I had no idea he was 67 years old.
I didn't either, honestly.
I mean, when you were around him and you talked to him, I would have sworn he was late 50s, early 60s at the latest. I had never bothered to look at his birth date or when he was born. So when it said he was 67, I'm like, really? Are you serious? And that's a testament to how he lived his life. He lived life as a young man. He wasn't, a 67-year-old that said, hey, I've done enough in this world. I'll just retire to the beach or what have you. He was working hard all the way through to the end of his life.
Nobody was going to out-prepare him or outwork him when it came to getting ready for a broadcast. And it's when you've had a job for 14 years and he was obviously he did games for the Pistons as well. You might get complacent. You might say, well, I've had it, everything. He always wanted to set the bar higher, and nobody worked harder to make sure every broadcast was spot on, that he was prepared, that he knew what he was talking about. And it's a testament. And Jim Donovan made a point this week that I just thought was so spot on. When you do the job long enough as a play-by-play announcer and also as a beat writer and such, you're not only good at what you do, you become part of the family, so to speak. You're part of the sports fans family. Fred could walk around to anybody and people would say, Fred, great game the other day. How about them Cavs? You become part of the family, and that's why it hurts even more. There aren't many like that. Jimmy, Tom Hamilton, Fred McLeod, who are, have that spot in our hearts, and there will never be another Fred McLeod.
No, there won't. And, your boss, Denise Polverine Maniloff, who's my wife, she is an adjunct professor at Case Western Reserve, and she teaches a sports journalism class, and her most recent class was this past spring, and she liked to bring guests in. And at my suggestion, but also, Denise knew Freddie, I said, hey, why don't you have Freddie come in as one of your guests? It turns out he was the final guest of the semester.
Yeah.
Yes. And how thankful and grateful Denise and I are that happened, and her students.
I was going to say the students got something that you'll never be able to put a value on that.
Just an amazing, and I was not there, but I got the reports back. I couldn't make it. Of course, I would have made it if I could have. He comes in, first of all, when he's asked to do it, he says, I'll do whatever you guys want. He gets there early. He stays late. He answers all the questions. He brings his yellow preparation cards for his Cavs games. It was either on legal pad or it was on some big sort of, paper, hard paper. But he brought in his notes for the kids to see. And so he treated the guest appearance in class as though he were
like
covering
a broadcast.
a game.
Like a broadcast.
Yeah,
Yep.
and a lot of guys, who knows, but they might have just shown up and say, all right, I'm going to take a few questions from these kids, and then I'm going to get out of here. Freddie McLeod treated every one of them like they were special, taught them so much.